What up, this B-boy Reg?
I'm DJ Butter, y'all. We
The
funky
Funky
fresh
Fresh
in the flesh. Yes, we're
podcast. What's going on?
yes, we're fresh. See, we funky fresh in the flesh.
This is crazy. What up,
Can't
though?
get no fresher than Fresh C.
No fresh.
Yeah, what's up,
Yeah, I
guys?
got my homeboy Fresh C up in here, man. Straight up video game guru, MC, producer, all that.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. I don't know about guru. I'm
Yeah.
still a student. I just learned something right now. You know what I mean?
It's a
I
big
was
word.
telling him I had the knockoff version of in television. It was a game console called Aquarius.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty ill. Like I'm over here with the other screen. I'm just gonna set that aside to check that out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. You
So
got
what's going on,
ColecoVision
sir?
on there?
You got what?
Is it ColecoVision? What
I
is
told him
it?
that was one of my favorites, the ColecoVision.
Yeah. Yeah, that's some old school stuff right there.
Yeah, they,
That's OG console right there. Still legit though. Still
yeah.
legit.
That was the upgrade from the first Atari. You had the ColecoVision. The
Yeah,
graphics was that
yeah,
much better.
yeah.
Yeah,
Man, back in those
Man,
days, man, like if you had parents or you had like homies with good parents that had video games, oh
yeah,
man, those
right,
are the
yeah,
best friends to have. Like whatever side of the
yeah,
whatever side of the block you're on, as long as you had a friend like that,
right.
you had something to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope.
yeah. Man, let's get to it, man. Man, talk about coming up in California, man. Was it Porterville, California?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Porterville, California. Me and my mom moved out there from here actually. So from Arizona in 1989. So my mom and two of her friends like dipped out when my pops and her split. And so she took me and two of her homies and they just said, you know what? Let's just go to Cali for a new life. New, you know what I'm saying? Like refreshing and change the atmosphere. And my mom's being a single mom, you know what I mean, in California in the late 80s. I don't know, man. I don't know if that was the best move, but I'm grateful for it because I found hip hop. That's where I fell in love with hip hop. And you know what I mean? Like fell in love with it because of the struggle. Like to
Right,
just be straight up, like as time moved on, unfortunately, like my mom got consumed by a different kind of life, a life that when she left, she wasn't prepared for. And so when she hit that kind of life, that affected me and my siblings like in a major way. And since my siblings and I had uh like different parents, you know what I mean? Like different dads and all that, it was a lot different, like all the way around. So to just kind of like paint that picture for you, late 80s and my mom is white. So I'm half Latino. So picture that. It's
yeah,
way different kind of story at that time. So we're the only white people that this street is probably ever seen as far as when they see my mom. My mom is white, you know what I mean? And my grandmother, she owned all this property from way, way, way back. And they came here from Arizona. So I'm just trying to paint the picture of the culture, the scene. So back in them days when they moved here, it was like mining industry, copper mining, gold mining, that kind of stuff, Arizona, California. So that's where my family is like rooted in my mother's side. Father's side,
Right.
uh, less than fortunate. Some immigrants, some not from Mexico, different places. So I have a really cool culture. So mix that in just a little kid is seeing life like that, but already not belonging. As soon as we got there, we didn't belong there. Because at that time there's riots and different things going on that I didn't quite understand. And my friends were all of different colors and creeds. So to us, growing up at that time, we were all the same, or so we thought, until we went to different schools. I came out here back to Arizona, and given this is 1995.
How old were you when during and back in '89 when you were in California?
So this 89, I would be 3. So I was 2
Okay.
years when
All
me and
right.
my mom came. So then you got to think 93. So 93, 94, 95. Yeah, I remember 95, 96 is when the world came to an end as a boy. I suck at math, just to be real. I'm not even going to count in my head. I could rap my ass off, but that shit is, I don't know. But whatever,
Right.
stamp it though. So 89 and then 95, 96 is, like I said, the world changed. So you got to think mom's is white. My neighborhood's changing. Now it's predominantly Hispanic, Black, and Asian to an extent. And then everything else is just whatever. Like, unless you get run out, which a lot of people got run out. So this infamous street I lived on, it's called J Street, Jaye Street. Uh, a lot of things happen there, and you got to think when you walk, it's a straight line, but in that straight line, there's a lot of crooked ends and cracks and slips and stumbles, and if you ain't wise, that might be your last walk. You know what I mean? And like,
Right.
by no means am I saying it wasn't beautiful. Porterville, California is a beautiful place, and there's some awesome people. And I had some lifelong friends. Some of them, fortunately, are still alive and okay. You know what I'm saying? But that time was, it was fun and it was wild. So my mom's was always partying. So we had the party house. We had the trap house to just keep it funky. So you got a little bit of the backstory, you know what I mean? Like the origin, 89, 95, up around this 95, 96 is when I started finding music, fist fights, violence, drugs in and out the house, and started seeing fast life. And that's when I started feeling like this probably, it should make sense, but this is the best way I can explain it. I felt hip hop. I didn't hear it. Like everybody's like, yeah, but nah, I wasn't that kind of kid. I was like, I felt it when I heard,
You grew up in the NWA era and the
yeah,
Rodney King era,
yeah, and
Ice T, Colors era.
yeah, and
Man,
it's funny you say that, and for a long time, like a lot of my Mexican homies, like my Latino homies, it's a little bit different with certain things, but I got NWA tatted on me. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Because
Wow.
that's the origin of when Fresh C was born as
wow.
MC.
Right.
So that's my reminder always. That's where it started. So I'll never forget. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So that's how it is.
wow.
So you think you at this time you got, when you feel it, I'm hearing Too Short. I'm hearing NWA. I'm hearing and I'm probably going skipping through years, but I'm trying to put it together. Mac Dre, Dr. Dre. There's actually a bootleg tape. I'm sure maybe somebody will see this, could probably call it. There used to be a bootleg Dre tape that floated around like Cali like crazy, and it had early. I don't know if it's rough drafts or rough cuts or like dat tape cuts or what, but
Mm,
of the Chronic, of random, just like, I don't know, like whatever. And we get stuff like that because we're so close to like swap meets and stuff. So you heard Sir Jinx, the Ice Cubes, the DJ Poos, right? Like that really boom, boom, that bass kind of stuff. And that whole like scenario, and Tupac's and the Digital Undergrounds and the Humpty Hump Dance, like all that kind of stuff. The first Pac albums, like this was all the world that I was hearing. But I was also hearing in my mother's house grunge, Nirvana. I was hearing um like their album Bleach. Kids weren't bumping Bleach when I was in school, or Green Day Dookie. Like I got introduced to punk. So my mom had like, since we had the trap house, right? So this is that time, California trap house, kid didn't belong, hip hop. Yeah, he's hearing it, but he's feeling it.
It's
I don't
freezing
belong.
y'all on us, man. Y'all bear with us, y'all.
Oh, hold on. I'll stop. Are we good?
Yeah, we good. Uh,
Okay. Uh, and so, painting that picture there, hearing all those things, I'm just trying to put the canvas up so you can see the environment now. So 9596 chaos,
Mm,
but I didn't think it was chaos because I didn't know the difference. To me, this is life.
right.
I came to visit. Okay, so my mom got a little bit of trouble. So when she didn't get arrested, but they had this thing called PAR. It was like a halfway house for all women. And depending on your drug offense or whatever the offense was, you go through this program. So I had to go at that time too to my mom's visitation and go to like NAAA meetings. So I already knew the programs and like the steps, and it works if you work it, like as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and hearing stories from like OGs, like, and when it came to addicts, and when I had to go to these with my mom's, like, addiction has no color, nothing. That shit'll fuck up anybody,
Right.
anybody. That's when I got to see a reflection before I even got there, right? So I was learning knowledge through chaos, because I'm getting stories from grown folks, like grown men, ex gang members, drug dealers, cops, like firefighters that fell off. Like, and to me, these were like wounded heroes. And I'm a little boy hearing wounded heroes and like, but looking out my window and being like, and looking at my teachers and being like, what the fuck is going on? Like, my house is fucked up. Only certain teachers care about you. It's not safe to go to and from. My mom's is on drugs. All my homies' moms is on drugs. And that's when the roof came in. So that, to narrate that, that was Porterville, California for me in a nutshell in that 1 year, bro. So that's 95, 96. But if it, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy talking about it because it's really real. Like, but hip hop saved me from all that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I would,
that's a lot. Cause it sounds like you got
yeah,
to see so many different sides of like just the world in that little short period of time.
yeah,
Yeah. Now I
yeah,
understand that bar you dropped on I think the song was alienated or something. You said something like your management deal was corrupt, but like everything sounded like one seemed like one big what the fuck or something.
yeah,
You said,
yeah, yep.
yeah, so it's like one big what the fuck. Like you seeing all of this going on, and it's like, damn, how do I make sense of this at an early age?
100%. Like,
Yeah,
I appreciate you called out that bar, because that, it is funny because I'm wearing the shirt, which is really strange, but I'm actually wearing the shirt. But on that track, I'm talking about a lot of that stuff I dealt with in the industry afterwards, but I already had that. Like you were saying, I already
yeah,
had that being a little boy. So I already kind of had armor on. I was already carrying bricks in my backpack when other kids were able to do this shit. I'm able to game as a man now, but I
right,
wasn't able to do that as a kid, bro. It was like, it was like channels. Like I got in
right.
the background, literally. I always have shit like that in the background and stuff just to like keep me going. It might be, what the fuck am I watching? Short Circuit today, I guess.
Yeah.
That's in the, I just pop them in and just, because you never know when inspiration hits, and so yeah.
Hey, real quick, you watching Short Circuit? You know I had the little robot in there.
Yep.
Since you're a retro gamer, you got the robot that
Yeah.
came with Nintendo with the
No,
little
I don't.
gyro.
I don't have Rob, bro. I don't
Yeah,
have him. Mm-mm.
Rob like a collector's item.
I wish I did. And if you find somebody that does, I might be interested. So if you have a garage, or grandma's got a garage full of video games, and you don't want them, I might take them off your hands. We could work something
That's
out.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was some you mentioned some people earlier? So who were some of your other influences in hip hop, like that really help develop your style?
Okay.
Right.
Off top, and this is in no particular order. Tupac for the passion. That's where I learned about passion and conviction for lyrics and rhymes. Like, if you're saying it like you're reading it out of a paper, like nobody gives a fuck about that. So that's what I learned from Pac. Like, passion in your face. It's better than saying passion in your face, and you know what I mean. So
Right.
I learned that from him, and then at the same time studying his bravery as well, because a lot of that stuff, being from Cali, there were certain things that were said around versus maybe what everybody else saw, so to speak. I'll just say it like that. And so Pac for that. And then it was really crazy because I wasn't always a Biggie fan. I was a Biggie fan later, just because at that time, to be honest, I wasn't really allowed to be. So, uh, it was. It sounds unbelievable, but it wasn't cool around that time to be bumping East Coast stuff where I was at. So, because the East Coast West Coast stuff, if you were there, like believe it or not, it affected you. You know what I mean? Like what you listen to. So, anyways, Pac, um, Outcast, like Southern Playlistic Cadillac Music is still one of my favorite albums of all time that got me through some things. That got me through life. Like I think the song Claiming True
Mm-hmm.
was probably the portion of the cassette tape that probably got just shredded up. And I was late to that album because that album came out like 93, somewhere around there. And
Right.
so, yeah, and so I was a little late to that, and nobody was kicking Outcast either. So that's the kind of kid I was. So I was like, Pac, I had Outcast that made me feel more like I could be who I am, but I was still trying to figure that out. So
Right.
songs like Claiming True, though, I related to because they're pretty deep with like the words and and they had a different way of sound, and that's I felt the sound again, like I felt it. I didn't hear it, I felt it.
Right.
That's why I like the nothing but the G things, the doggy styles and stuff. For me as a West Coast kid, I loved it because that's what it was. Like I'll just say death row as a camp.
Right.
I I love that for certain
I
reasons,
don't know
but
why I'm getting a bad signal, fellas.
All right. Now
oh,
you good.
it's all good.
Yeah.
And so so I had certain elements, and that's where I found like De La Soul, which was odd for me as well. And I found it backwards too. So Stakes is High, then I went back. So that's why Stakes is High is like for me my favorite album, and everybody else maybe not. But I
Right.
felt it. It's just something I feel stuff if I feel it. So it's albums like that. Like it's funny because that's kind of what kick I'm on right now. Like they would help me going through things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Pony Ride, that got me through things. And I don't even think some people even understand that record, but I understand that record like deeply. But then also too from Detroit, even though M came out like super early with the Infinite, unfortunately, I wasn't an M fan first either. You know what I mean? From
Right.
Detroit, it was like Slum Village. And the only reason why I found those records is because we had homies around that had like Far Side records, like different kinds of records.
Right.
In this little corner of the barrio where I lived, we would trade tapes because we couldn't afford to go buy them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you couldn't fucking download or push stream on Spotify like these other kids or SoundCloud. You can't do all that.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So it was stuff like that. And then that's when I found, and it's crazy because again, it goes backwards. That's when I found Esham because some of my homies that did some gangs
Wow.
like that were G's, like
Yeah.
hustler G's, not gangster like banging. Like where I lived was the banging side, but hustler sound dope. All right. Just
Right.
keep it funky. Right. Um, that's where I found Esham, Eastside Hoes and Money. That's what I heard. And that's in my head. I got this stuff late though. Okay. So late. All right.
Right.
But I still got them. You know what I mean? Still got them. And then I got the Kill the Fetus. Sunshine is my record.
Yeah.
I I didn't understand it
Shout out to
entirely because
Isha.
I didn't live there, but J Street was the fucking sunshine, bro. Like you might not make it sometimes. You
Right.
gotta find, you know what I mean? And so uh that was like my walking to school anthem. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch the crackhead say hello. Like that's real shit to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the broken keys on the sample. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, bro. Anyway, so but then I also found like Cameron and Mace early from the East Coast because I like that raw rugged lyric stuff. Big L, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
before Mace was Bad Boy Mace, when he was really Murder Mace,
Murder
like
Mace. Yeah.
yeah, Children of the Corn, Cameron, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like So I had a whole bunch of crazy music like influences, and then you got to think my grandparents listened to Sinatra, so I love the Rat Pack, so I got all them up here. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like my influences. So Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, like I love it. You know what I mean? Otis Redding, like country music, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, like so. I'll just leave it at that because I'll never shut up. Like I just listened to everything,
Right.
country, rock, grunge. Yeah, it was all there, thankfully. So it was just
Hey,
like this pot.
you just proved the point though that how timeless music is, and like a lot of artists, some artists back in the day, artists used to get frustrated because like say their first album come out and they don't get these huge sales within like the first couple of weeks. You
Yeah,
mentioned a couple times some artists you didn't get on to them until maybe like their second or third album, and then you went backwards.
yeah,
So that music is it has longevity to it if it's good music, because eventually you'll catch those new fans and they'll go back and get your old stuff.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
That's
because you got to
dope.
think like when I found Stakes is High, you know what I mean? Or let's just say Kill the Fetus, because I found that around the same time. So you got to think like Kill the Fetus, I think came out like
So you make
93.
you make
What's up?
beats with your stuff, too, right?
Actually, Butter back then, to keep it real, I couldn't make beats back then. I couldn't afford it. I was rapping, and this is something I like. It sounds weird for me to say, but lately I could just say like I'm doing deeper music. I found some different pockets of energy, so learned some things about myself, and I kind of figured out that I was probably a producer since birth. Honestly, not an MC. I only MC'd because I felt the music and I wanted to express instead of trying to find some kind of positive. Then I didn't want to be what I was seeing, and what I was seeing was nothing I wanted to be, like none of it. And I wanted to escape, but I wanted to be great at something.
Right.
And so when the headphones go on and I feel the music, oh man, it took me to a place of bliss. So that's what I wanted to do. And I knew I couldn't afford the MPC. I couldn't afford that. Like there there wasn't nothing I could do legally to get that at the
Right.
time. So, and I'm not gonna say I was innocent. I did illegal things to get my mic and all that, but
Right.
it was easier for me to get a name and a rep and to move around in the city rapping. So I started battling, and that's where it all went down is battling. And that's when I discovered all kinds of different hip hop because everybody wasn't nobody was scared to share tapes at
Right.
the spot, which if you think now, people don't people don't do all that. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Yeah.
different kind of grind that back then I was grateful enough to just catch the end of it. I think I caught the end of what y'all got to like cultivate and help create for us to be able to jump into the game. And I caught that last bit at a like with a wave of learning. And I just try to grab every single thing that I learned, like the Tribe Called Quest, the Slum Villages, the Biggies, the Pox, you know what I'm saying? Like even DJ Screw, Texas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I found different pockets of music, Esham, Outkast, you know what I mean? Like Big L, like that's how that happened because that's the end. That 96 to like 99 was the end of something. That's all
Right.
I could. It was of something happened and something doesn't exist from that point. You know what I'm saying? Going forward, at least for me, I don't feel it. I don't know what that is, but there's something different about that time. So the music and everything, and the understanding, or so what, or the perspective from learning from the albums, right? Like, yeah, I even got a few right here. Like, oh, Naughty by Nature, Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted. Like, I got the albums right here, literally.
So when you
Yeah,
let me ask you this. So you grew up, so when you was talking earlier about like the environment, because a lot of people be in
yeah,
those environments and they come out and they just straight gangster rap and that's all they do and that's all they know, right? And
yeah.
I think you said it on it might have been the same song too. You said something about um I was told backpackers ain't real enough or something you said. So like what made you kind of like stray away? Was it just the influences you had of having that balance on both sides, or did you just say, I've seen this and I prefer to do this type of music?
I prefer to do that kind of music because that's what I fell in love with.
Okay.
That's just the feeling. Like sometimes like I used to get into debates with management and stuff. I don't want to say I'm hard to work with, but there's just some of this new age stuff that I just don't get down with. And
Right.
I stand on what I stand on my pivot. I'm like, I'm not trying to do all that. You know what I mean? We can reinvent it somehow and merge or whatever. So yeah, I got knocked for it a lot my whole career. My
Wow.
whole career was like, you should do this, you should do that, you should get this feature and all these things. There was a time in my career where all of that was at, I mean, right there.
Right.
But I didn't believe in that. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to get into deets, but the things that were at the table weren't legitimate. 360s aren't legitimate to me, or a portion of my publishing isn't legit to me. I'd rather have 100% of what I got, which is I'm living off that, doing it for a living, and
Right.
own my pub and all that, than have a great record and only own 10% of it. Or, there's so much to it. So I just stay true to me, man.
That's dope.
I stay true to the art, despite getting knocked for it countlessly. Like just continuing moving the needle. But also I feel like where we're at in this culture today, I feel like me as a person who to the fans and the people that do rock with me with respect will always know, like, yo, Fresh always stood his ground. Like he's one of them dudes that
Yeah.
kept this going. I'm gonna stand behind this dude because there might be another young Fresh C, or a young Esham, or a young M, or Royce, or all these other groups, Slumville, the J Dillas, or the Mac Dre's, all these different kind of artists where you go through things because you're not doing what everybody else is doing.
Right.
You're not following the tide. You're going against the current. But I always looked at it like that's how I was birthed. I was birthed to do things different because I'm a creative, regardless of what end of the spectrum I'm on, beats or raps,
Right.
or whatever, is to bring that energy. So even though things might get crazy, ugly, and they've gotten, and there's been plenty of times been broken to my knees with it, but even like off the record, Butter and I had a conversation simply kind of about this in a nutshell. And he was just like, keep your headphones on. Like, keep your headphones, turn the channel, keep your headphones on, keep the hip hop, keep hip hop going.
Right.
Keep that noise out, keep the hip hop going, pretty much, more or less. And that's how life was forever. Because
Right.
when things are getting thick, you know what I'm saying? At that time, you're hearing gunshots and you're burying friends at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and on. It just be the blood stain on your white shirt of your character just gets stained forever. You just can't keep, the stain ain't coming out.
Right.
It's with you forever. So I put all that into the music, man.
Hey, who are you? So as far as making beats and production, who are some of your favorite producers? You
Arab Music is one.
uh,
Just Blaze, Jay Dilla, of course, Black Milk, um, Q-Tip, Pete Rock, Alchemist. Man, and there's this MF Doom, of course. There's this one producer I just literally found the other day. I don't know nothing about him. Shoot, what is his name? I'll think of his name. It'll come to me. I guess he's from New York, and he only put out like a couple of albums. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But yeah, those are a few. And Primo, DJ Premier.
okay, dope. All right. You so talk. Let's talk
Fresh.
about Butter. You got a delay on your end. I think Butter got a little delay or echo.
Oh,
Yeah, he in and out.
okay.
So talk about your let's talk about the video games for a little bit. So
Okay.
Your so how many consoles do you have? You just collecting consoles as well as the games, or
Yeah, I kind of collect them all. So I got a few right here. You can't see too far, but
okay?
um I got the Sega Genesis, I got the Game Boy, the old brick joint. Um so I had the Sega Genesis, both of the minis too. So I collect those, the little mini ones, the small ones that they got.
Yeah, yeah.
The Super Nintendo, both
Okay.
the original and the minis. And what else we got? Oh yeah, here's a mini right here in front of my face. So like these little ones right here. So
Yeah,
it's basically like the replica.
right.
Um, yeah, so I pretty much have everything from O2 going back. I don't have a Commodore 64. I don't
Yeah.
have an Aquarius. So if anybody's got an Aquarius out there, allegedly
Or
there's this joint out there. We gotta somebody hit me up.
it's
I
the
need that.
knock off of the television console, and you got to get the Odyssey.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Odyssey.
yeah. Odyssey was one of the first, and then there was a console that came out right after Genesis. I forgot the name of it, but I think they were one of the first consoles to use like the laser disc
Oh,
technology or something like that. It really
wait,
didn't go anywhere because the games cost so much.
oh
And, you know,
man.
at that time we was used to paying maybe $30 or $40 for a game. So
I'm trying to think because there's quite a few, like because they had the Neo Geo came out around that time and that was CD based.
yeah, yeah. That
Sega
probably was it that I'm thinking about.
But there's a few. I don't remember what year that came out because I couldn't afford that. But they had the Sega Saturn, the
Yep.
Sega CD that didn't do too well.
Yeah.
Neo Geo. What was the other one? Panasonic had one too.
Yeah.
Panasonic. It was like it almost looked like the CD changer that you could be able to get back in the day. It was a huge old thing, like a laser disc.
Yeah, yep. And those didn't take off because the CD, the discs were so expensive for a game, and the quality wasn't that much better than what we had on Sega and Nintendo at the time. But yeah,
Yeah, like imagine asking mom and dad for like a $400 cartridge. Like, yeah, you could have that for Christmas. As soon as you turn around, smack. What you talking
yeah,
about? You ain't getting that.
that's funny. What are some of your favorite games on Nintendo and Genesis?
Okay, so for Nintendo, Mega Man all day.
All
That's my
right.
favorite gaming series. For Sega, mm, I'd have to say Golden Axe. That's like my go-to.
Okay.
Like, yeah, Golden Axe is cool.
Yeah, my favorite on Nintendo was Metroid. Uh,
Oh man,
Metroid and Rygar. Those my two favorites, and Zelda, of course. But those my
Zelda, all great games. Let me ask you this though:
yeah,
Did you ever actually beat Zelda? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
I beat
haven't.
Zelda twice because when you finish Zelda, you start over, but all the little hidden items and gems, everything is a little different. So the map is a little different.
Yeah, no, I just wondered because that's one of the few games I have it, and
Yeah,
I haven't beat it. That's why I just asked. It's one of the games I actually have that I haven't beat it. So I guess now it's got to be one. It's got to be done now.
yeah. You got to burn a lot of bushes and push a lot of rocks. And
Damn, that sounds like the rap game in a nutshell, right there.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. What made you get into how? When did you start collecting the game consoles and everything?
honestly, during really heavy during COVID time.
Okay.
To keep it real, yeah, during COVID time, because all I was able to do was make music and play games, and that's how I got started on Twitch and doing my shows and shit like that digitally to stay ahead of the curve, and keep things going. So yeah, since like 2020, which is hella fucking late, you
Right.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
shows and everything came to zero, so it's like, well, you know, why not? And I ended up turning it into a whole different business, so it ended up being profitable. So fuck it,
Oh,
you know.
that's funny.
So
So
it's
you on Twitch with your gaming on Twitch pretty much?
yeah, so check this
Okay.
shit out. So I game on Twitch at a
Okay.
certain time, and then in the morning, you guys remember like Saturday cartoons? You
Yeah.
guys, yeah. Okay, so Saturday cartoons, I run my own show. So I cut up like segments from like CBS, NB, all the stations, right? I
Yeah,
got a little plug that has all this, like the lineup and everything. So I go through, cut them up, and then I put commercials and stuff like that, and like floss it up with my own little production,
yeah,
and it does its own thing. Yeah, I'll talk. We'll chop it up off camera about something, but it's tight. Like I run my
okay.
own like Saturday cartoon show, but it just never stops running.
Oh,
You know
that's
what I mean?
funny.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
cool.
when you're gaming on Twitch, are you doing all retro games or you playing the newer stuff?
All retro, man. Straight nerding out.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely got to finish Zelda on there, then the original Zelda.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to. And I always try to keep that tuck because like my chat, they'll be throwing shit out there sometimes. They'll be like, yo, first play this game. And I'll be like, damn, literally they no, I haven't beat that game. I don't know why they think I have, you know? And so I don't lie, but I just try to like get around it. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I'm not trying to play like
Yeah,
Metroid, you said. Oh man,
yeah,
they got me on that. I suck at that game, bro. I'm
yep,
sorry. I don't even know what's up, but I think I could take on Zelda. If
yeah.
you know.
You got to have some patience for Zelda, Metroid, Kid Icarus. I finished that.
Ooh, yeah.
Rygar, and it was another one that I played that I used to love. Of course, Castlevania.
Oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
all the Castlevanias too.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me grab it.
Y'all hear me over there?
Yeah, yep, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
You hear
Nah,
me?
check this out.
Yeah, yep. So,
I can't.
er,
It's all messed up over here.
Are you good, butter?
yeah, he got a little delay on there. So
So
let me. Oh
there it is.
yeah,
Boom.
yeah,
That's the joint. Remember them little sleeves and stuff, you know what I mean?
yep.
Keep them clean. You
Hey,
know what
let
I
me
mean?
ask you this though. You remember this magazine called Nintendo Power?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they used
Yep.
to have like the little cheat codes in there.
Hell yeah, the walkthroughs, the
Yeah,
little the 1-800 Nintendo number, you know what I'm saying? You could call up Mario's associate and he could walk you through the game
yeah, that was funny.
for like $6 a minute though. Like your
Right,
parents get your fucking Pacific Bell bill and they're like, "What the fuck?
right.
What you been doing? Playing games, mom?" You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's funny.
Get evicted
Yeah,
for some shit like that.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, how many controllers did you go through playing that game?
Oh man, I burned through them controllers playing that.
Did you ever
That
get any?
and Double Dribble.
Oh yeah, double
Yep.
dribble was
Double
hard.
Dribble. Yep. And Contra.
All right, Contra without the code,
Yeah.
without the 99 lives code, that's a
Yeah.
that's a man. Without the code, the Konami code, that's a tough game to beat.
Yeah. We killed that game. We went through that game pretty quick.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Damn, that's ill.
Legendary Wings. There was this game called Legendary Wings we used to play. So yeah, I was a Nintendo addict for a long time, and back in high school and
Dang,
everything.
that's tight. I like it's so crazy because like I feel like gaming and music are like synonymous because like when I would be playing video games, back then, right? Like you're
Right,
not always just at your own crib. You might be at your friend's crib or like somewhere else or the arcade. Like the arcade was shit. Like I don't
right,
know if you had arcades you kicked it at, but we did, you
yeah,
know. And so
yeah.
we
We had arcades. So when I was younger, like in elementary, early junior high, this guy showed me how to. We used to call it popping credits, right? So like your midway games like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, you used to could put a paper clip in a coin return, and you had to shake the paper clip a certain way. And when you
oh
move it,
shit.
it'll make the credits go. Because when you put a quarter in, it hit this little pin. So if you put
Damn.
the paper clip in there, I had like 30 credits, and I used to sell people games. They'll pay me
Yo.
like they'll pay me 50 cents for 4 games, right? And all the like games like Mario, Donkey Kong Jr. used to could put a straw in on the side and move the
Damn.
straw like that, and you would just pop credits. So
Damn, nuts. We never had that, man. We you know what we used to do though? In this place, it's no longer open, but in Porterville, there used to be this place called the Fun Zone, and
okay,
that was our arcade. Um,
yeah,
I'm trying to think. I know I got a paper clipping behind me that says what the guy's name is. It's like Don Brazelli or something. I don't know what happened to it, but that place was ill. And shout out to him too, because he saved a lot of lives and probably didn't even know it, honestly.
right,
Um, but the arcade, Street Fighter, like
yeah,
he
yeah,
had Street Fighter tournaments. Like
wow,
you will go to Fun Zone,
right,
so you play the skee ball joint. It's dumb, but it's like it was his cool way of like you get prizes, but it's still like it was a cool hustle he had, but it worked. So you go and you play skee ball against whatever bracket they made this bullshit tournament up, and you
right,
go skee ball it. But a lot of people hated skee ball. So honestly, it was cool for the broke kids like me and a couple of my friends, because if the kids that had money, they didn't want to play skee ball, we took advantage of that shit. So we figured out, we kind of conned it. Let's just keep it real. We conned that shit. Me and my homies were like, yo, let's do this. So we found out a way to get extra tickets in that fucking thing.
wow,
Yeah, there was some like rigged like bootleg like wiring system. And so one of my homies' dad's electrician, so he used to like steal his little just steal his shit, you know what I mean? Just borrow it for a minute. And
yeah,
so he pulled some MacGyver stuff. That was our like phrase, MacGyver. You know what I mean? Everything we did was
right,
MacGyver if it was like bootleg. So if we did something MacGyver, and so that motherfucker would spit out tickets, and
right,
we'd be like doing stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like throw the fucking ball, like curve it and all that. You know what I mean? Like making these little girls thinking we're cool. Really, we're just fronting, like frauding the system. You know what I mean?
right,
But tickets, then you get to the tournament. You get to the tournament. Back then, you put them quarters on the top of the arcade joint. So you had to come with 4 quarters. So you put them 4 quarters. Those are your 4 lives for the joint. And then Tekken tournaments too when that came out. So you had to do the stupid ass skee ball thing so he could make a few bucks off you. Basically, it was free,
right,
but that's how he made a few dollars. You know what I mean? Skee ball, but
yeah,
everybody hated skee ball, so we just
right,
made it worth our while. So we got all the stupid little bootleg prizes, the little bears and stuff, and gave them to the little girls. And then we got the Street Fighter tournament, and the homies knew I was ill, so I would go and hustle these big boys, these 16-year-olds in high school, sitting on this bullshit chair because I'm a short cat, sitting
right,
on this chair whooping ass, and then split the change from my boys and go to the comic book store, A&M Collectibles across the street, because we used to
right,
get them Beckett's for cards. You know, you could sell them and shit.
yeah,
That was my video game arcade joint.
that was dope.
You putting the music and the video games together?
What now I am for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
But at that time, you got to think like wherever you were playing, you had music. So like at the Fun Zone, they had a jukebox. You know, this is before Bluetooth, yo. Like, you know what I mean?
right,
Like jukebox joints, and they had cool albums in there. They weren't like that, you wouldn't always find hip hop, but you might get like a Run DMC record if you get lucky. You know what I mean? Like, Don was cool, but he played it safe. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to have no Dre Chronic or no, you know what I mean? He wasn't trying to
yeah,
do none of that. He kept it friendly, but he had Prince though. Like, it's crazy. Like, he had Prince and like Michael Jackson, and at that time, people in that area wasn't really with the music shit like that. And that's pretty like clear to say it like that. Like, there's certain things we just wouldn't hear where I was at, and so he was cool with that. He didn't give a fuck. He played like whatever music would be in the jukebox. It just might not be hip hop all the way.
right.
What, tell us something fresh. Give us a rundown of your catalog.
Ooh, okay. So like mixtapes, I wish I had it. I wish I had my briefcase. Uh,
Mm.
because I have a briefcase of cassette tapes,
Oh
like
Oh
wow.
wow,
cassette tapes with graffiti. Yeah, I showed it on an one time on camera, once or twice, I think. But yeah, I put it in storage. But anyways, I've been rapping basically like from the jump, like cassette tapes where you dub them and you put you put tape, like
the,
duct tape, and you know what I'm saying? Because I was
yeah,
too poor to be able to buy blank tapes. So
right,
the first tape I made though was 1997. The Underground Kings, TUK. The Underground Kings is a tagging crew that we made up.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like rest in peace to the homies. None of them cats are alive now, unfortunately. So, but we used to fucking just tag up the streets, and that was our shit. It was just a fucking tagging crew, and we would just rap. And my name wasn't Fresh then, so I don't know if the cats is my catalog, but
What was your first rap name?
Miklo, man.
What?
Miklo, you know, like Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
The white boy, the white Mexican, with everybody, that was me. So everybody was like, Miklo, spit a freestyle, homeboy. You know what I mean? It's like, what's up, Holmes? And then I kick a freestyle for him, but I didn't rap like Mexican. So anyway, sorry, buddy, I got sidetracked. Underground Kings was my first joint. Of course, it went absolutely nowhere. There's like 2 copies, me and my mom. You know what I mean? The boys, baby, and shit. But we thought it was popping. You know what I mean? Like we put the cassette together. We had a homie like draw up some pencil art. Like we weren't playing. We had it. We had the vision, right? And so the rapping came first because I couldn't afford nothing. And so I would say skipping forward, my other project, the first one, it might even be right here to the left of me. It was called 3 Minutes of Fame. I'm skipping way, way, way far. This is like 90s to 2000, 2000 actually. 2001, high school. 3 Minutes of Fame. How we did it was my homie Justin Barnacastle. Shout out to him. He kept me with the music. He taught me how to bootleg Mixcraft. He gave me my first bootleg computer that his uncle borrowed from the school at the time and took it back after we were done borrowing it. And we made that project, and they had a Light Scribe burner. That's how we burnt them. So at school, Light Scribe, y'all, this was before whatever the fuck they have now. Because I didn't, you know what I mean? But Light Scribe CD RW drive, the school had them in the class. And when we borrowed them, we made sure we borrowed that one. So we made copies. So 3 Minutes of Fame was like my 3 minutes of fame. In the lunch line, nobody had CDs, bro. Not in high school. Like, yeah, this was 2000s, but I'm living in the boonies now. Because at the time, to go back, I know we paused in 96, and I had to circle the block just to connect it here with the projects. When all this started rapping back then, and freestyling and battle rapping and all that, it was just battle rapping. There was nobody that, we didn't know studio. We didn't have none of that. It wasn't until, that we had them little 4 tracks or them little 2 tracks or what, the task cams. I don't even remember. I think it was a task cam.
Yeah.
Like 4 track.
Yeah, but the little fader on it. So, but we didn't know how to dub them. Like, we didn't know how to do that. So it was like, it was so bootleg. You getting a tape was a 1-on-1. So if you got 3 minutes of fame, it might have been like 2 minutes and 59 seconds of fame because some shit might be fucked up. You know what I mean? Whatever. So Underground Kings, 3 minutes of fame. That time now I'm in Arizona. 3 minutes of fame is Arizona. Underground Kings is California. Freestyles, battle rapping, California. Gang life, gang culture, California. Gang banging, mom, halfway house, pops nowhere to be found. I got my life together 7th, 8th grade, started doing these freestyles and going to what we would call hip hop shop, like Maurice Malone's hip hop shop, like y'all had, you know what I mean? Or the Ebony Showcase or something of the latter. We had something similar to that, but it was just a barbershop and everybody would just rap. And that's why I learned all this stuff and learned freestyle. I never wrote a rhyme in my life until 2005 because motherfuckers were like, you can't freestyle on shit all the time. You can't go from the mind. You got to write them shit down. Like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to, I memorized them. So it wasn't like, what the fuck you mad about? Yeah. Like, I know my shit, but it was like, that's
roll over distractions, bro. That's
man. So at the time I was like, whatever, I'm going to do me. So I went against all the grain. You know what I mean? So I did develop a lot of people that hated me because I didn't give a fuck. Like, if you told me I couldn't do it, I was going to do it and I'll do it in your face. That's just how that's who I was. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to win. I wanted to win. So imagine from the Underground Kings to 3 minutes of fame, a lot of shit done happened in between, a lot, from arrests to all kinds of shit, but we survived it. The next joint that I drop is just freestyle tapes. I didn't have names. I had volume 1. Rap Party Volume 1, because me and all my boys would be at the crib fucked up, and they'd be like, yo, Fresh, right? Because my name was fresh by this time. Miklo done got retired like years before, somewhere back in the day. So if you've been a fan since Miklo, shout out to you. But no, so in between those tapes is where I kind of like learned a lot of shit. Learning like how to freestyle off the dome anytime, anywhere, any place. And if you didn't, you're probably gonna scrap. And if you're good, you're gonna scrap. So scrap. You know what I'm saying? Like, do what you gotta do. So I was always the underdog, the unwanted dude, the kid that they would either say, white boy, or you too white, your mom's is white, get out of here, or you ain't Mexican enough, fuck out of here, homeboy, what you bang, what you claim, you know what I mean? So it was a weird time for me. It was super weird because nowhere I went I belong. So you got to also putting that together so you understand where the music starts going. So blending that in all together, then is when I started making mixtapes and dubbing them. So 3 Minutes of Fame, that became one. Everything was just like volume ones throughout all 2000s. I had tapes all the time. If I spend a weekend at your crib, you know, this mic is coming with me and my little laptop and Mixcraft and all that. We're going to be rapping. Even if you don't rap, we're going to be rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like everywhere I went, I dropped a tape every time I spent the night at my homie's crib or every time I got kicked out. I didn't give a fuck what I was wearing. I didn't give a fuck where I was going. I didn't even give a fuck if I was eating. I just want to rap, bro. So all them tapes, we counted before my mom's passed. Because my mom had every single tape I ever gave her, cassette tape, CD, hundreds, bro. But the most notable, Rough Rider Boulevard, these were mixtapes when things started to change. Sorry, it's just like 97 to like 2011, super fast forward. So Rough Rider Boulevard was probably one of my favorite mixtapes. History in the Making. That was a trilogy. So History in the Making, Repeating History, History Has Been Made, Rough Rider Boulevard. Those were all within like a year span. Vengeance Is Mine. Fresh C presents J Crown Productions, because I was putting other cats on in my city. It wasn't just about Fresh C. It was actually about putting people on because, and you know what? And let me pause that. I know I'm running around like crazy, but there's just so much. What made me believe it anymore, shout out to Detroit. For real. Outside the names already mentioned. And this, some people might take this some kind of way, but let me just paint the picture from the perspective. When I went to see 8 Mile in 02, I was a sophomore in high school. I got kicked out of my crib like a week before that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, a week before that, because I was playing for state sophomore year high school. This is my second year in Arizona from Cali. Stopped gangbanging, changing my life, still rapping, trying to get some clarity at that time. And so, yeah, it has to be that time. So I went and we saw 8 Mile. Was kicked out of my crib. Went looking bummy. Girl I was supposed to go with ditched me. I went and rode in the back of my homie Ace Molinar's whip with my homeboy Andrew Garcia. That's right. I was living with my dog Andrew Garcia. Shout out to him in the Shire. It was like the crack shack, but it was cool. We smoking soul weed out of the joint. It was ill. But he let me crash there. We went and watched 8 Mile. I just got kicked out my crib for rapping though.
For rapping?
Yes, for rapping. Rapping, bro. Because I wasn't
Where
taking
do you
nothing
get
else
that
serious.
from, man? I mean, you sitting there with all your equipment. You've been through
Yeah.
gang life. You know the mom. Lost what she was going through. Lost your mom, and you still invest in yourself, man.
Yeah, bro.
You like bleed hip hop. You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah.
Where do you get that inspiration from? Yeah, I'm the same way, bro. You could just, let's go ahead and talk, bro.
My mom.
Yeah, I'm the same way, bro. Man,
Yep. Straight
tough,
up.
man.
Mm-hmm.
For her to have all your cassettes like that and just show you,
Yeah.
she cataloged your music. It make you feel that much more valuable than anybody in the street. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Yeah, super real.
you know?
Mm.
And it's cool. Like, I ain't even tripping. It's just one of those things like saved my life.
Yeah, me too, bro.
You know what I'm saying? It's different. It's different. Yo,
Hip
like,
hop don't stop.
yeah, like it saved my life, man. I
Right.
mean, these tears ain't fake. Like, I can't fake that
Yeah.
shit. It just comes. That's what it is. You know? If I hadn't had hip hop, man, if my mom hadn't have cultured and allowed me to be myself,
Mhm.
fuck, bro. I wouldn't be here. Nah.
It's too easy to be a dealer, a
Oh
shooter,
man.
any of that. It's
Yeah.
loving hip hop.
Yeah, like the crazy thing, like it's so real for me because like I saw like the things I was listening to was what we was living through. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So that, like spitting with conviction and rapping and doing that kind of thing, like I felt it. So like when hip hop started doing different stuff, like, going back to projects, when I was doing these mixtapes, that's kind of like the mixtape era that we come from, or I come from, was like skids heavy, like, Justo beat, you know what I mean? Justo Awards mixtapes, Dipset, G
Yeah, yeah,
Unit, you know what I
yeah.
mean? All that shit, G Unit radios. Shoot, like, um, what's the bar exams, Royce, you know what I mean? Or all them tapes, like Shadyville tapes, like it wasn't like that no more. That shit was dying. This was 2011. Like this was like two pigeons, two dope boys, pigeons planes, like the blog season was in, all that, two dope boys, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I kind of was late, bro. Like, I was kind of late to that. And the DJ I was rocking with at the time wasn't really rocking with me. Dude was playing me. Like, just keep it real. Like, I'm gonna keep it funky. Like, nah, he fucking played us. He played a bunch of us. He played a bunch of young hungry cats. Me at the time, right, 2011. You know what I'm saying? Like I was building something, and that came off the 8 Mile joint. Going back to that, you know what I mean? I got a little emotional. My PTSD kicked in, but uh 8 Mile at that time, that was my blueprint. So when I saw 8 Mile going back to that shit, yo, that was my life in a sense. Like I wouldn't say Trailer Park, and I'm not saying M came from Trailer Park either. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the storyline. That's not where I was from. But them situations, I don't give a fuck where you're from. Them situations, if you've been through it, that shit is real.
Yeah.
If you came from that and you understand it, you just feel it different. Ain't no fucking game. And that hip hop shit ain't no fucking game. We might not have had the bigger crowds. Ours was more intimate. But yeah, motherfuckers were definitely getting stabbed, definitely getting beat, definitely getting pistol whipped, all that shit. All
Mm.
that shit. It's different. It's different. But all that shit was there. And then at gangbanging in that motherfucker, god damn, shit was wild, bro. It was like
You know
we
what? So wild. We
wow.
coming up as a kid, we wanted to come to Cali and go to Venice Beach and see where breaking and electric boogaloo was at. And,
Bro,
and
Right.
Ice T was walking on Venice Beach and Easy E. And here you saying 8 Mile. I'm like, wow. It's like it's
well,
just chambers in life.
you got to think though, like you got to think though, like in that time I was in Arizona though, butter. So you got to think like what once I came over here to AZ, like AZ is rural, like
Yeah.
light years late. Like
Right.
when I moved to Arizona, there was what was this? Who am I gonna follow here? No disrespect, but like there were people, but and I'm not even gonna put names or none of that. I'm just gonna say there are people, but I
Man, they
mean,
play
for
they play
me,
Bust the Move on the radio like it was made yesterday,
I
right?
mean, I mean, no disrespect, but for me, that wasn't it. So I was like, where's the inspiration now? This is different
Yeah,
because so you got to think now. I had all this shit going, but it was inspiration though to
Right.
nothing. To like people wave at you and shit. It's like this, and I'm like got a twitch and shit, and they're like, "What
Right.
is wrong with you?" And like when I first moved here, like any talking about rap, like what the fuck is that? Like you rap? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we don't do that shit here. You can't cuss. You can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, ah, so 8 Mile changed it all, because then when I saw that and I saw that dynamic of the culture in a pot where it was like, okay, black, white, brown, whoever, hip hop, what the fuck? Okay, well, if there ain't nothing here, I'm gonna build it.
Right.
And that blew my mind. So I made it happen. Check this shit out. This is where it gets funky. This is super dope. I'm really, really passionate about this. Super excited to say it here. So Detroit inspired that. So I took that idea and I made this spot. At the time, it was called something else. I'm not going to say the name for other reasons, but it was called something else. And it was a huge venue. And they threw shows and things like that, but it wasn't going anywhere. I proposed an idea with a bunch of people, like already showing, hey, it's profitable, man. We could bring some money to your joint. Let us do a freestyle battle here. And he was worried about the cussing, the violence, woo, woo, woo. And we're like, hey, since we're so good at freestyling, 2 of us were good at freestyle. I knew everybody else ain't worth the shit, but we could boot camp that shit. Fuck it. We'll make it work.
Right.
But me and this other cat, we knew we could do it without cussing. No problem. Fuck, who cares? Let's do it. All right. Shook his hand and made a deal. And we made that thing pop. Nobody cussed. Nobody fought. Nothing. Freestyle battles. And this is crazy. No cap, no nothing. And I'm being respectful as possible. But ain't a motherfucker ever saw me on the mic. Ever here. Ever here. Ever. And that shit was ill. Like Freestyle Friday was the shit. I made that. I brought that here. And I wanted to feed these young MCs and give them all the shit that I just fucking went through, and be like, yo, here's a step, a big fucking step. Grab your homies, your sisters, whoever the fuck does anything, and bring them to the spot. You record, bring them here. You got engineering skills, come over. You could draw. Yeah, we need posters, whatever. Let's cook. You know what I mean?
Right.
So years later, that same building, right? Because this was early 2000s. I told the guy, I said, one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to have this building. Everybody laughed. Everybody laughed. And guess what? I came back and I got the building. So in 2011, right, I got this joint on my wall. 2011, I opened my joint and they did a whole like full-out spread on me. Let me just like show it just to fact check. You know what I mean?
So you got that piece of the action record back there.
Right. That's it. And the dealer.
This is my first shit right here.
Oh, that's dope.
So that was my shop right here. Let me get a little closer. And that was my first mixtape joint.
Oh, that's dope.
So, you know. So I opened up my joint. I had a whole boombox hand painted by a woman. Shout out to Ruby. She painted this whole boombox. I wanted to make it that when you come into the building, all that bullshit, you leave outside the boombox doors, yo. When you walk into the cassette tape opening, you come in, you leave that shit out there. And we even had the little room in the front, like a glass casing. So if you needed to fucking take a walk, you don't want to go to the street because the bar's on the corner. So if you come out there with heat and you're getting wild, you're probably gonna get stomped out by some OGs that are drunk as fuck across the street. So you gotta tread carefully, you know. So we had this little box where you could chill out. You could get your thoughts together, and you know, if you need to shut the fuck up and sit down, you need to. It's like the little corner. You just
like
chill.
the penalty box or some.
Yeah. It's like, motherfucker, sit over here. You know what I mean? Like, you're being wild. And so from that, and I started hosting freestyle battles, bringing cats on, teaching them the business, teaching them what I knew. I was stopping my career because I had attention and I had people and I had pub and I had eyes on me. And I started opening up and I'm like, hey, who is doing anything? I don't care what you do, but you do something. Find me something. Let's create this. Let's create something.
Right.
Oh, man. And it was great when it was running. The unfortunate part is at the time, the city didn't want that here. I was doing something so different and I didn't have the funding to fight it at the time because we got ripped off in the end. For real. But anyways, at the time, we had it. I created a record shop, a consignment, a recording studio, and we would sell them records. We did packages for mixing, mastering, put the records up on the shelf for consignment. You could perform the records that you record and sold in the boombox and rap in the venue. I did shows every Friday. On Saturdays, we did dances. So if you didn't want to come and catch the rap show, you probably want to come and, girls want to shake their ass. So come to the spot. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we had records, we had women, we had the homies coming through, we had pool tables, we had arcade games. It was the shit. And then we got too hot and they shut us down. They started making excuses, talk about we got drugs in there, talk about we got drinks in there and had the cops all up in there. How to get, I was young. I was in my early 20s creating an envision that I got from watching 8 Mile in the battles. And if I hadn't have seen 8 Mile, who knows? Because
Right.
that was when my mind was fragile. I just got kicked out for rap. Who does that?
Right.
So in my fragile little mind as a sophomore boy, and I'm going to see 8 Mile, I'm like, fuck. Maybe this will, maybe this will inspire me. I spent my last $5 on it. You know what I mean? Might as well. And so, and ain't no girls chilling with us. It was bad. It was bad night. And we went, and I came out that changed my whole life, kind of. Because you got to think, 8 Mile, 2002, battled, told the dude, yo, we got skills. We could do without cussing. Became the champ, woo, 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 created a name, got a rep, kept it going. Years later, come back for the spotlight. Give me the keys. I got the bread. Blew it up. Had everybody here. We had people coming down. You know what I mean? Like it was in its infancy. It could have been something great. You know what I'm saying? It
Right.
could have been
So
something better.
you didn't get a chance to at that time in 2002 to watch Beat Street and Breaking and all. Did you see those earlier movies?
Can't say that I did, honestly.
Latinos and hip hop was early in those movies.
Nah, because you got to think like, I guess as a kid, like I said, I didn't really have a chance to be a kid. It was so spotty.
Yeah.
Like there's just certain things that I missed out on because I was being an adult kid. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like taking care of fucking everybody or being taken care of if I was slipping. Like I wasn't no fucking saint either. I was doing stupid shit. You know what I mean? So putting that in a nutshell, I recreated like a whole scene, like its
Right.
own 8 Mile. And it wasn't like copying or biting the style at all. It was more paying homage to it.
Yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
was showing like, hey, they did something great. We can do something great. They started from nothing, from what I understood, from what I could learn from the people in which I got the information from at the time, the resources we had.
We was
And I
there.
just,
You know what?
Kind
That's
of scenes, wasn't you, Reg?
yeah, but that's hip hop though. You see a
yeah,
void, you see something missing, and you create it from nothing. You created the culture that you wanted to see because
yeah.
you didn't have it there. So I mean, that's what it's about.
Man, you know about the pop locking culture? These
I
rewind,
I
rewind
know I know about it. I can't say I'm well versed in it, but
Yeah.
Man,
yes,
the pop locking, that was like 8 Mile to us back then. That whole the essence. What's so funny is like we wanted to get to Hollywood, and everybody wanted to get that 8 Mile. It's like we seen
See,
just
just
a
like
difference.
how 8 Mile was to you, to us, it was either California or New York. Mainly, it was New
yeah,
York early on.
Right.
So that's like movies like Beat Street and Crush Groove. That we was already like listening to hip hop and wanting to be a part of it, but that made us really, really want to get into hip hop in all aspects of it, from the music, production, DJing. Out in the West Coast, it was like Breaking was kind of like a more of a commercial um movie compared to like Beat Street, but
yeah,
it still was that energy and that culture of hip hop. But what Breaking did is it made LA look pretty, and it was the hip hop version of Hollywood, right?
yeah,
Because Hollywood and the mainstream wasn't friendly to hip hop early on. But Breaking said, okay, they do have hip hop in Hollywood. So like you can get sunlight and hip hop. Like what better world could
Right.
you have with
Right.
that?
yeah,
But then when we started learning a little bit more about LA and the gang culture and all that, we was like, okay, but it was still hip hop, so you wanted to go there anyway. Even though
yeah,
you couldn't wear certain colors, so like, let's go to LA. So it's like that same feeling you had about 8 Mile, we had that from those influences from the East and West Coast. And we had, that's why Detroit, you seen us create our culture early on. You seen the East Shines go out and be like, I can't get a record deal. There's nothing here. Let me go out and put my stuff out independent, right? So is you did exactly what we did. You did it based on what you seen us do here, and we did it based on what we seen happen in New York and California. So
It's
that's
just
what hip hop
crazy.
is about, man.
Yeah, nah, and that's just one of those things that I always look at, like at that time, because there were some times where some labels came with some deals that didn't make no sense, but I entertained it just to, hey, you know what I mean? To me, that was a ode that what I was doing was valuable when you have stuff, people coming at you like that. And, fortunately enough, I knew good enough about the business to say no, you know what I mean? And have to take the L in a sense and say, it's okay. I'm here for the long run. I don't want the short money. You know what I mean?
Right,
And so we're just kind of like learning that early on, like that helped me navigate through this, but also all the hardships and all the kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like everything that comes in between, like, but like going back to the inspiration, for me, it was really just what I was seeing in real life, like just in real time, because it was just, there was a time and place where that's like, I can't remember ever taking my headphones off. That's how bad it was, if that makes sense. Like,
oh yeah,
and unfortunately, I had to listen to albums later too, to sound different because I only had one on at all times. Because you gotta at least hear what the hell's going on around you. You know what I
right.
mean? So there's so many like facets to it, but 8 Mile definitely inspired me for the future. If I could say a movie inspired me back then, even though it wasn't music, it was more like what I understood and had musical influence, was Boys in the Hood
Yeah,
or Menace to Society, because those were, I that's what I saw. Like it
right.
was very real to me. It was, so movies like that.
Did you see Colors? Was you up on Colors?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 That
Yeah.
You
was the
you
end all be all right there.
I,
Yeah.
I want to say something about Colors, right? Colors probably was the only movie where the soundtrack was more important than the movie, right?
Yeah.
Because when I seen Colors, it was like, okay, they showed a glimpse of the game life and everything that, and it made us understood it. But the song Colors is what really did it,
Yeah,
at least for me, in my opinion,
yeah.
right? The movie was good, but the song Colors, it just opened up everything. Like, okay, this is what they meant to talk about in the movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's movies like that, and then you got to think like being multicultural or biracial at that time was not cool. And so a lot of other movies too that I was watching was like was of course like American Me and Blood
yeah,
In Blood Out. Those were like anthems for my street, from where I come from. So um but they didn't have the music in it.
right.
Unfortunately for my culture, like the Hispanic culture at that time. And let me touch on that for just like a little second. Like it's different because me coming up, even me being biracial, my father is Latino, so that's what you side with. Like when things happen, that's what happens. So if you're whatever your pops is what you roll with. And so um, being biracial and stuff like that, there's certain politics for things. And at that time, like I didn't rap like that. I had early raps that were like that, I think everybody has in raps that where they say shit that you probably shouldn't say and like that are ridiculous and violent beyond fucking obscurity. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But I didn't sound Mexican. Like I didn't sound like nothing. I sounded like me, which was cool, but not cool at the same time.
Right.
Because when I rapped before, I had a lot more like treble in my in my voice. Um and a lot didn't have a slur, you know what I mean, from other situations, um things like that. It was a little bit different, but just having like being like different, just not rapping essay in my raps, you know what I mean. And it's
Right.
no disrespect, but I wasn't Chicano rapper, I was just an MC. I wanted to be just an MC, and like people didn't get that.
Right.
Nobody got that ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like every meeting we entertain, like, yeah, I'm sleeved up and I got tats. They do represent things. They're not just fucking pictures. You know what I mean? Like, or bullshit, you know? And some of them are earned and some of them are there because I like them. You know what I mean? From things that have occurred. But the thing about it is it's all hip hop. You know what I mean? Like it all circles back to that. You know what I mean? Like all circles back to the origin of it, you know what I mean? And I gotta thank like you guys, like you gentlemen, like, you know what I mean, for putting on and everything you guys did in Detroit went and survived through, because I'm only a viewer. I can only see through, you know what I mean, what I'm allowed to see or whatever we could get, especially at that time. And I know I'm weaving and woven all over stuff, but like hip hop is just so embedded in my entire story, like from beginning to end, like it just never ends. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, tell us something. Did you grow up listening to like the Kid Frosters and the Mellow Man Ace and the B Reals and Cypress Hills and those
n-
guys?
not really.
The lowrider rappers.
We did, but for other reasons, there's certain rappers you weren't really allowed to listen to. So like
Wow.
where
Okay.
I lived,
Wow.
where I
Yeah.
lived, where I lived, Kid Frost, you couldn't have that out here in Poly.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
but his mute like low, all that stuff was dope. But like there's differences. You know what I'm saying? So like let's put it like this. Simply, simple and plain. You said colors earlier. There's a lot of that. You know what I mean? And like at that time every block had something, and every block had something, every corner had something, and you either belonged to something or you didn't. And there are very few people who didn't belong to this or that. So certain music was even segregated. I hate to say that, but it's true. You know what I mean? So the music, you wouldn't only hear certain stuff. Like I was telling you guys earlier, like nobody where I was living was listening to Outkast and Big L and Tribe
Wow.
and Slum. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like my homies are like, what is this? You know what I mean? They're listening to Little Rob or Mr. Shadow, like all these other
Oh, yeah.
Chicano rappers that they were
Yeah.
on, but I wasn't on that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool, and yes, I rock with it because I come from that and embedded in that. But I was just different, yo. It just
Mhm.
no disrespect, respectfully. I like other music, so you know what I
Right.
mean? So I was the different guy. I was the one that I was always resourceful. I had the Green Days in the cut. I had the Nirvanas in the cut. And then the Eshams and you know what I mean? And the Tribes and you know what I mean? All everything, just different tapes. Lauren Hills. You never know what the fuck I'd be having in my shit. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
my
Right.
headphones always be changing. You know, be listening
Say
to
you
whatever.
you'll be playing cannabis in the lowrider.
Hey, you know what? I was more of an LL fan. I'm sorry, so I wouldn't have been bumping cannabis at the time. No,
Oh man.
no disrespect, but
That is right.
nah, I'm LL would have been with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, did you ever have a lowrider?
I did
You did.
a
What you have?
1982 Chevy S10 long bed
Oh man, that was tough.
V6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
first ride. I had it out of high school, right? And then I put
Uh-huh.
gold. I put gold bullshit Dayton's on it. You know what I mean? It's
You
hilarious.
had a
But
real Dayton, so because you had your hammer mallet, or you had like
the rubber hammer.
the rubber one, yeah,
Yep.
not that lead one that start wearing out after you beat it.
No,
So
I did. And I always called them. We always called them fake D's because like
yeah,
they weren't fake, but like I know somebody got for them probably somewhere because these you know like when you get them around the block, you get them around the block. So it's like, hey, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So they have some miles on them, but
How
we
many
always just
how many hydraulic pumps did you have?
no
None.
hydraulics. I'm gonna tell you the secret, a Vadio secret. You ever seen them little blocks?
Yeah,
You put them under when you go underneath, if you want to have it whichever way you want to have it slide, you put these little silver bricks underneath it in the there's like a U joint. You pull them
yeah,
apart
yep.
and you slip them bricks and it raises it up. You know what I'm saying? Or you can slam it down. So that we was cheating on that.
Oh,
With the top cover on the back, so the girls think you got hydros, but they really ain't. It's like
my
they, you know, they ain't really 20s.
Wow.
I had a pickup truck and I wanted to get a Z rack on the bed so the bed to dance. And they
Damn.
couldn't do it here because we got into hydraulics a little bit here in Detroit, but these winters ain't nice on them hydraulic pumps and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
right? So he ended up just giving me I just had two pumps so the bed would move side to side, and back and forth, but it didn't come up like the Z-Rack. And
That's tight.
man, I used to. Then it was the hydraulic fluid would start leaking. Then I had to go put transmission fluid in there temporarily. It was, man, that's a lot of maintenance, man, for somebody. They ain't know how to do it right here, right? Y'all culture had that out there, so you can get
Yeah.
all of the extra stuff. Dudes was getting hydraulics on their car, but their frames wasn't right. It was just all type of issues going on. It was almost hilarious.
Man, that it's crazy you say that though, because like, and at that time, like to keep it real, this is how different I was. Like all my little homies, like all the vatos like that we had like in the audio, like they all wanted to get lowriders and stuff. I
Yeah,
wanted to get an MPC or like a SM7 or like, you know what I'm saying? Like a
right.
fucking microphone or a PV performance mic, you know? So all the shit I was interested in, my friends, what the fuck? Like this guy, you know what I mean? So it was always like, when I came to the spot, I was always being creative and like there wasn't really a lot of that. So it's crazy like how y'all were thinking of how LA might have looked or,
Yeah,
or the West Coast might have looked. And I'm not here to like say it was all bad, but it was like there was a lot of learning to be done. And now that I like am understanding energy and learning this super late, oh
right.
boy, like I'm learning a lot of the places that I was in. Like, holy shit. Like
You man.
like you know when you go back it's like I mean I don't know how to explain it like I feel like you just feel it and it's like holy I, I was in that
Right.
like at that age and it was just like whoa like man but after like when you start to understand it is when I just blew my mind
Right.
so that's how deep hip hop is rooted like because it kept all that out like that. I don't really know how to say it better than that. Like, you know, from freestyle battling to meeting rappers at the swap meets when they sell their tapes, like they did that there.
Who
You
you
know what I
who
mean?
you
Like
meet at who you meet at the spot, man? Tell
as
us.
a kid, Too Short,
Yeah.
selling out the trunk, like you know what I mean? Like he was one of them hustlers that would pop up like swap meets. Swap meets were ill.
Wow.
That's where
Right.
you got bootlegs from.
I always wanted to
Shouts to
go
the
to Compton
bootleggers.
swap meet, man. For real,
Yeah,
back when I was a kid, you know?
that's where I found my first DJ mixtape, right? Like where like you had scratching like with like a I guess you would say a what they would call professional mix. Like you remember like the rap Olympics and things like that where they would dub certain things like instead of
Yeah.
a mixtape, it's a this kind of tape. So
Yeah.
Right.
DJ Rectangle tape and I can't remember the damn it was black. I can't remember what volume it had, but it had that it had the oh my god, the hardest I'm rapping in my head, but I want to look fucking crazy. What the fuck? The verse is like, I'm too sexy for my motherfucking hood. Hood. I'm too sexy for my
That's
motherfucking
J.O. Philly. Yeah.
What the fuck is that
Yeah.
damn song?
That's J.O. Philly. What you
Yeah,
gonna do with it?
the remix, bro. The fucking
Yeah.
remix. Oh my
What
god.
Red Man and them was on there?
Yeah.
Method Man's on that. The remix,
Yeah.
bro.
Yep.
Yes, J.O. Felony. That for me was like those kind of moments too back then were like made it cool when I was like, oh shit, like, hey,
We
we're
was tripping
mixing
off
now.
sherm sticks,
You
J.O.
know what I mean?
Philly in Detroit, and we didn't even know what sherm sticks mean, but
Right.
it was a song to ride to, you know.
Holy
Wow.
shit. Don't fuck with that.
Mhm.
Oh man. Nah,
Man,
like
talk about the boxing you've been into, man. You know,
boxing?
yeah,
Oh man. I learned from a good friend, Eric Montel, who passed down through generations. His father was trained by professional fighters. He professionally fought until he got injured. Grew up with some really cool, tough fighters back in the day who actually fought UFC inspiration. So shout out to Joe Soto. He's a former UFC fighter. He's from the neighborhood. Super inspirational. So it just kept the discipline. Like I just love to
yeah,
do it for the exercise. You know what I'm saying? Like to keep my
yeah,
mind sharp, you know, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna have to check myself this week pretty hard. But we had a rough one this last week, all 5 days a week. So it's like I do three training where we do the Mike Tyson workout, where it's like 4 miles in the morning. It's just like it's all body workout stuff, like working your inner core and all that. and then the other 3 days you do lifting and things. But I just love the art. The boxing is art to me too. You know what I'm saying? Just like the fluid movement and just keeping your body in shape, and I like that.
Mhm. Did you
Plus,
Who
see
your
Muhammad?
who your favorite boxer?
Mike Tyson,
Mike Tyson. All
Iron
right.
Mike Tyson all day. Yep.
Did you meet Muhammad Ali while he was living in Arizona?
Nah,
Wow.
unfortunately, no.
Mm,
That's dope.
No, I didn't. I knew people who got to see him and stuff like that, but nah,
mm,
unfortunately, no. But yeah, Mike's another inspiration. Like his story, and
yeah.
I base a lot, even like beats I've made, are inspired by him. Like my train, yeah, he's like one of those people give me lots of inspiration, man. Mike Tyson, like it's not always even hip hop. It's other people too, like Iron Mike, definitely, 100%.
You know,
If,
some rappers that could box in real life, like Willie D could box.
Yeah. Hey,
if,
you know what didn't know was oh shoot, now I'm just gonna slip. There's another gentleman that we all listen to all the time that boxes that not a lot of people know about. Oh, and I just found this out. Who else that within the last 20 years in hip hop that's professional? Who else boxes low key? Dang.
Um, I can't think of
what is
anybody
that?
There's one person. I can't remember his
that
name.
that's like Golden Gloves or something.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. They
yeah.
said 50 was good. He
Oh
was a
yeah.
good boxer. Yeah.
50.
It's some more footage of Willie D and Melly Mel in like an old like celebrity boxing match.
Man, that would
Yeah.
be crazy even now. Look,
It was
you know,
crazy then.
like,
We
God
got
damn.
we got Snapdog at home. He was knocking dudes off the ring. Snapdog, you know.
Yeah, no, like I think if Cali would have got it right where we lived, if they would have had a boxing ring, I think we could have saved a lot of lives, bro. To
Yeah.
Mm,
me, because like I read 50's book. Speaking of that, and what was the gentleman? I can't remember the gentleman's name, but at the time it was like a police academy's gym he was staying, and then another gentleman took over the boxing gym, and that's where he basically got the game on boxing and stuff. And I really took a lot from that story too. So it's pretty dope. Like, but they had that in the community, you know.
Right.
who would have won a boxing match between Pac and Big?
Damn. I mean, you know, I don't know though. You can't underestimate your opponent. So you gotta think. Hold on, let's think stats real quick. Let's think stats. Let's think stats. Pac's coming in straight from the green room, crazy as
He
hell.
said, "What a
Probably
green."
sipping some Alizé, smoking a joint, throwing
Right.
West
Put all
Side
that
everywhere.
energy.
Yeah, probably has Mike Tyson in his corner just for backup, just to
Right. I
just to
forgot
proof
he
it
got
up.
Mike training.
You know what I'm saying? And then all right, who's coming with Biggie? You got to paint the picture here.
Right.
What's Biggie? What's Biggie
Right.
side looking like?
Brooklyn.
All right, you got okay, so
Right.
you got Brooklyn. Who?
He got Brooklyn, the energy of Brooklyn behind him.
All right, where's it going down at though? Since this is
Man,
crazy.
Oh
what
man, that would have had to happen in Atlanta.
Okay.
Anything East Coast, West Coast got to happen in Atlanta or Detroit or something. Okay.
All right. So let's just say one full round, bro. One full round. Just one round. Win, lose, or draw. Who do you got?
Ooh, 3 minutes. 3 minutes a long time, man. People underestimate boxing,
That's what
but
I'm saying. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know.
One
I
full
don't,
round.
if big, I think if big hit him, no, it'll be over. But you got to
I
last
can't
three
let him
minutes.
I can't let him grab him. Biggie grab you, it's over, you know.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you know that little thing boxers do when they wrap up, but they lean their little weight on you.
Oh,
It kind
bro,
of
like
make
going
your
for a
legs
hug.
tired. Yeah, big do that a
Yikes.
couple times. Your legs buckle. It's a wrap.
You got to think it's like Little Mac versus Butterbean. If you're looking at it from
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
boxing point, Butterbean had hands, bro. You never know.
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Every time he be throwing them punches, you probably hear like Biggie, thump, 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 thump. You know what I
Right.
mean? With them ones and twos.
Right.
That's
You know what I
funny.
mean? Nah,
Hey,
I would have to
Fresh,
say Pop.
tell us something fresh. What's fresh to you these days in hip hop? Like what you listening to?
Honestly, shoot, I'll tell you right now. Just look at my let's see. So we got recently is De La Soul Stakes is High. I was literally listening to Pony Ride before the show. So we got, let's see, De La Soul, listen to Cooking Soul, producer, The Alchemist, Ab Soul, Royce the 5'9", Elzai, Creed 3 soundtrack, The Watcher instrumental. I was bumping that to get some inspiration. Logic, Joyner Lucas, Rocky 1 through 3 soundtrack, Bill Conti, Hobson, Mac Miller, Bone Thugs, and Esham. Oh, and Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son. I was bumping that randomly.
Mm.
That's been this week's archive. That new album that Elzai did, the compilation. I love that. I love that album. That joint EP.
Why they hating on Logic like that? I mean, did you like it was a good day remix? What he said? I can
Man,
fuck him and she can fuck all. He did it on the film. He ain't changed the name.
here's what's crazy, bro. Is like,
That was wow. I said he ain't changed the name.
man, I just think that's messed up, bro. Like everybody's just coming for him, and it's crazy because like I'm the biggest Joe Budden fan. Like I think dude is a great
Yeah,
MC.
he's cold. Yeah.
And one of the people super inspired by his
Yeah.
lyricism and his penmanship always. But that's
Man,
just
the
that's the only
mixtapes
thing I
with
can't
DJ
agree with.
Clue, they knock on Joe Budden's DJ Clue days with the mixtapes, man. He was vicious.
That's one thing. Taking it to that like that, I'll never understand. I'll never understand is like people's, not people, but just certain. So there's a lot of MCs that are like, God, like I don't know, man, like gods. You know what I'm saying? Like to just put it in that sense, like, you know, lyrical gods or MC gods, like people that like helped you push to that limit or helped you learn something, like where you could listen to it. Here's the thing for me: if I could listen to an album forever and always learn something, like, oh, I didn't hear it like that time. You know, or maybe a rhyme pattern, a rhyme scheme, or a metaphor I didn't understand before, something else just hit, and like stuff like that, like timeless music. You gotta like look for that now, and that, you know what I'm saying, and like, so it's very refreshing when to me as a musician and as a like a student of the game, you know, like when I hear albums like, you know, Elzai's, you know, or like what's the song? I'm gonna have to, I know the words, but I can't say the first few words, you know what I mean, culturally. So like, but it's my favorite joint on here, the Ziggiest, and it's
Okay.
on King Shit. King Shit is my favorite joint, and then
Shout out Elzai.
and my it starts out don't forget, and then L's like, L is that your favorite artist sees me as a threat. That song, you know what I mean, like those kinds of, like that penmanship. I'm gonna put you up on one thing really quick, just one thing. Alienated My Project was influenced from Elzai. One of, you know what I'm saying, like, and I told him, I wrote him that like a long time ago, you know what I mean, but his album, like the Lead Poison album, if you could see right here above my head, that's the cover of Alienated. I could pull it out the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So my homie Eric Montel, who taught me how to box, right? He's an impeccable artist. So he drew this, and it was influenced by Elzai's album. You know what I mean? So I was paying homage in my own way. So I had like things I was going through in life, you know, in the same fashion that he had the artist, you know what I mean, for Lead Poison. So because that album got me through a lot of shit. Still to this day, you know what I mean? So um it's albums like that and artists like that that to me like keep me going. You know what I mean? Even like, but you don't hear those names like the Joe Buddens. You know what I'm saying? Like the mixtape game is crazy. Elzai, you know what I mean? Like Razzcast. Like
Right.
I could be in different circles and like I'll like insert things so because I want motherfuckers to learn. Because like I always look at it like they're not gonna ask me for opinions, but y'all need them. So I'm just gonna fucking sprinkle some hip hop in this convo. You know what I mean? Here or there. And then when you put in like a record and you play them, like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, this is so and so. Like, check this shit out. You know what I mean? Like breaking other MCs or artists or producers or whatever. Cause I always be putting people on. You know what I mean? Just to spread love. Like, you never know. Cause somebody somewhere along the lines like something and they might like what you got.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that can help push the needle for you, or like her or him or whoever, you know. And so I always try to keep that alive with hip hop, even though sometimes I feel like it's just me. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to run on your own energy, and like I'm in my mid age now. I don't look it, but I am, and I've been doing this for a long minute, and I've had some great heights and some like some terrible floor to the ground type shit. But we just keep it moving. Like take the L's, you know, let it out, let it go, and fucking keep it moving. But I'm never gonna stop. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I always think too, like deeply when I hear these records and I hear these MCs that we talk about, and sometimes people like I don't know. I guess like I look at it sometimes like if I could contribute to people not forgetting about people that help me stay into it, you know what I mean? Or like stay alive. Shit. Fuck, let's just say that. You know what I mean? Like I want to push that to other people so they know what's up. Cause everybody ain't fucking smiling out here. You know what I mean? Some people got fucking masks they can hold on for days. I just happen to be a little more transparent than most, but I keep it funky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes people need that shit. Like music is therapy. Like, you know what I mean? Like for me, it's like you could be going through like the fucking whole world could just come at you, and like you put them headphones on, like the experiences I was saying, you know, like and it stops. Like and it keeps your heart like
Right.
beating. Cause just
Talk
keep it
talk
real.
about what your two favorite albums. If you was alone on the island with one boombox, and you only can take two tapes on the plane or two CDs on the plane for your left and right hand, which would those be?
Wait, let's clarify that. Do you want it to be just hip hop, or do you
Oh
want it
yeah,
to be?
that's what I'm saying.
Because you know he might pull out Nirvana or
I'm like,
Johnny
what the fuck?
Cash too.
Does it have to be exclusively hip hop or
just period. We just want to see where your
Oh man, you done
mindset is
made it
at.
hard.
damn? Okay, shoot.
We could do two hip hop and then what? Two other
Yeah,
alternative.
two hip hop and then any other genres of music.
Fuck, that's hard, man. Can we come back to that for like a second? Let me marinate on that just for a moment, cause I
What
don't
would
want to
yours
fart.
be, Butter?
Yeah, there we go.
uh,
There we go. There we go.
I hear you.
What would yours be, Butter, for two hip hop?
Uh, probably probably Eric B. and Rakim and Detroit's Most Wanted. Um,
Damn, that's dope. Okay.
um,
Hmm.
Yeah.
I would have had Ice-T in there somewhere, but Detroit's Most Wanted. I gotta have something deep, you know.
Yeah.
Then other stuff would be like Sade and uh,
Hmm.
I can listen to Parliament or something.
Right.
All right. I got a couple. I got one for sure. I guess just for, and I'm picking them for a reason because you got to be able to listen to it front to back, back to front, and be cool with that. So one album just to keep, for me, to keep the essence of the fight or the hunger as far as like rapping, like mixtape, like I want to do something gritty. I would probably pick 50 Cent, Guess Who's Back mixtape, because
Mm.
that's when it was do or die. Like Get Rich or Die Trying wasn't even there. It was like they try to kill me and I'm still trying, but here we are. And I got this joint. Check this shit out. I don't know if it's a fucking bootleg. It probably is.
50
But I had it
Cent,
for a
man.
minute. I don't. Oh no, it's a reprint right here. It's the joint. I would take this bad boy with me right here.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The full clip joint. So
Yeah.
I would.
Didn't he do Slum Village Tainted over on there?
I don't. Let's see. I know that song too. It's like no, that I think is that one
What
on
mixtape was that? I know he
I
did
think
Tainted.
that's on another
I
mixtape.
think that's
Guess
on
Who's
50 is
Back?
the future, maybe?
Okay.
Because those three tapes, the green, the red, and the blue joint, the ones that he shot in the garage or whatever with all that,
Yeah.
with Who Kid, it's when they had that joint on there. Because he
That
did
joint got bumped at and all that on there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
bump that Whoa, Black Rob's Whoa remix.
Okay, yeah.
He even did that one fucking song that oh my god, what is it? It's like It's like da 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 ching 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 da 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 ching ching ching. They fucking did a G Unit remix
Yeah.
of that shit. It was fucking
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, so that and then Illmatic. I gotta take
Mm.
Illmatic because I could just play it every day and never get tired of it. So those would be two, which is crazy because it's all East Coast. And then if I could pick two different ones, I say Michael Jackson Off the Wall, and then um hmm shit, what else we got in here? Oh, Sticks, Paradise Theater. I got the
Mm.
vinyl, but it's behind the door. So those are my other two.
What you say, Reg?
Oh shit. Hip hop, I would have to go with shit. It would have to probably be Raising Hell, Run
Mm.
DMC, and Raising Hell, Run DMC, and probably
King T, huh?
he'd be out there, but Raising Hell, Run DMC, and probably yeah, probably the Jay Z yeah, Reasonable Doubt. No, yeah, Reasonable Doubt. I would take Jay Z Reasonable
Yep,
Doubt.
that's a
But
good one
it
too.
wasn't just those are they are in my top, but it's just where I was in life. Like you said, music is therapy. So
Yeah,
Raising Hell had a lot to do with certain issues that was going on. It just helped me through a lot.
Mm.
Just being able to go back and just play the music. And I can pretty much play that and I'm bad albums straight through without rewind, fast forward and skipping the song. And then non hip hop, man, would have to be probably like the Whispers and then probably like a Marvin Gaye album or something like that.
Mm.
You know.
yeah. See, that's the thing is like, there's so many incredible albums. It's like it's hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That my answer will be different tomorrow. But they're
Yep.
all great albums or great tapes.
Yep.
For real, for real.
That's dope.
I
Hey,
gotta.
Fresh, man, we gonna need you to spit something for us before we leave. All
Oh, you got it. I was hoping. So I was hoping because I love freestyle, bro.
That's the real MC right there where he'd be like, I was
Yeah,
hoping you would ask me.
yeah. Straight up. Yeah. No, I'm super down for whatever.
Man, talk, man. I want to
Yeah.
ask you before we get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Talk about the importance of the MC investing in themselves. You see a lot of the more the trap rappers, the more they pretty much got a lot more understanding on buying cameras for the cameraman and buying the studios for the engineers and having a more in-house than what we had. We
Yeah.
came up a lot of cats came up. They invest in
Is it?
themselves like we see you do here, man, and talk about that. I think hip hop has missed a beat with that, along with artists just be programmed with that and letting everybody do everything, pay for the music, the samples, the everything. You know what I'm saying? To where we missed this new age of when Napster hit and all that stuff hit, for us to keep up with the independence, like a E40, who does double albums, these days and times, man. He's always been a blueprint of independence. So you talk about your niche in that.
Yeah. So, um, unfortunately, I just had some situations occur that, kind of like written in blood in a sense, where I learned how to protect my music. Without throwing nobody under the bus. I'm here to do all that. You know what I mean? Keep it positive. But there's some people early on in my career that took advantage of me. You know what I'm saying? Like I had some records that popped off early in my career. Not records that I even really care about, to be perfectly honest, but just some records that took off for whatever reason. And some people got behind it, and it was just all smoke and mirrors. And so after that happened and all those situations, and found out, my pub was getting stolen and things like that, I had to learn, and there wasn't nobody to teach me, you know what I mean? So I just started digging, and a lot of that's from learning from interviews and things like that and connecting dots. But I learned how to secure my publishing. I learned how to, get with the society. So like a lot of people think in a sense, like you get a distributor, right? Just trying to make a generic example. Let's say TuneCore and a DistroKid, which to me are number one and number two, or they could easily be competing for both. They're both great.
Right.
For different reasons. So sometimes people think just those mechanical royalties that there's just that's all you get. That's not all you get, ladies and gentlemen. So that's like a little crumb of the crumbs they give us anyway. You know what I mean? So that's a portion of it. Then you have a society, so like BMI, ASCAP, snow cap, things of that nature. Make sure if you aren't, get familiar with that. It's free. BMI is free. ASCAP, snow cap, they believe they have some kind of charge in the beginning. I'm not sure. So, and then you have a publisher, you know what I mean, and you're publishing, which is your BMI ASCAP, and then you're publishing administrator. You could either have your own publishing. Some people do that. That's perfectly fine. Me personally, I rock with a separate company which is called Song Trust, and they've been great to help me out for what I mean, the publisher administration portion of that, and that means they go outside the United States and get all your streaming royalties. If you had to put all your bread up to pay another third party to go and collect from Japan, I had a record go off in Japan that saved my career at one time, and if I hadn't had my situation right, I'd have never saw that money. So in retrospect, there's steps. So to break it all down, really simple: distributor, get with this society, get with and excuse me, I can't think right off the fly, but Sound Exchange, just look it up. You figure it out. You need it. So society, Sound Exchange, and your distributor, and then your publishing administration. And doing your copyright is personally up to you. There's ways to do it. You can pay for it, et cetera, et cetera. And then LLC. These are things you can do. You don't have to. You don't have to do none of this shit, but you can. You can. Get yourself a LLC, get your business right. You know what I mean? Get somebody, try to build a team. These are all things I learned by not doing them correctly. So if you want to ask, there's the direct answer. I didn't have nobody teach me that. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell. Because a lot, like them young bucks, like youngins, if you listening, like protect your music. Anybody, protect your artistry. That's your baby. And we always hear them terrible stories about how people jack and steal and rob and that kind of stuff. Just protect yourself, and then there's knowledge out there. There's people who are willing to teach you. I know plenty of people that are more than willing to say, hey, here's some literature, here's a PDF file, here, peep game. You know what I mean? I'm one of them. I'm sure you have people in your community, if not both of y'all, you know what I mean? Like being resourceful, you know what I'm saying? Like helping other people get on and helping them out. So, all these roadblocks that y'all went through that, we didn't have to all the way go through, and then boom, you know what I mean? Like passing the baton to help some of these young players, these young cats out, because it's fucking ugly out here, yo. Any kind of ally or like positive person, people or creators or that energy, y'all protect that.
Right.
Like protect it. If you got people that are around you with good energy or creative in any kind of way, yo, like protect that. Like check on your people or you know what I mean? Because not just the music shit, just like look at the shit, like getting on a deeper sense of things, like and if you want your kids to, you don't know what's gonna happen to us, you know what I'm saying, like in that aspect. But these kids though, they still got a lot more time, so like protect your music, you know what I mean, because that shit's gonna last after you. Make sure it's right. You don't want your fam going like trying to figure out what's up with your catalog, you know what I mean? Or like why motherfuckers got your, your beats and shit and like your stems and master sessions and all that. Right. I'm sure we could all relate in different ways. Nobody wants to see that, you know what I mean? So that's securing your children's lives, the life you gave for your future, for your children, your kids. That's it. So ladies and gentlemen, like protect your music, protect your shit. That's your, not even for legacy, that's for your kids. If you got them, or you know what I'm saying? Give something back.
No. No. All right, you gonna kick something for us, man, before we wrap up? All right.
Yo, real quick, are we acapella? Are you throwing something on, or what do you want to? What do you want? How do you want to do
it? Let it go beatbox.
That's fine.
No, we got acapella.
Just freestyle, just off top.
Yeah, whatever you want.
I don't think my beatbox is proper right now.
Give me a subject. That's all. Just like whatever, anything.
Video games.
Hey, yo, I play video games from dusk to dawn. Sega Genesis. Yeah, the CD is on. I got the Toshiba 32-inch. And I got on the left of me a side chick. I'm just chilling all the time with my plastic stick, doing it freestyle. That's how it is. With the boom box in the background, chilling with the back sound, doing it all the time. You hear him in the background, fuckers jumping up. I'm like, who that is? It's first scene, motherfucker, handle your biz. I'm drinking this healthy, it's called kombucha. I'm chilling all the time, drinking on Fruit Loops. I'm super nat, listen to Juke Troop. I mean, hold on, what the fuck? That was Goof Troop looking on the VHS. I'm getting nice with it. Hold on, work. That's how you get it, because that's my screensaver. It's 150. You already know what I'm doing. I'm doing it dirty like 50. Guess who's back? I'm on the track. Killer Tape intro was the first on that. Rotten Apple, the skit drop, it's like that. That's what's up, featuring G Unit. It's like that. 50 bars in track number 6, left on the line. The original before Get Rich or Die Trying. And fuck you, Too Hot, featuring Nas in Nature. Get a Quran, the dude this ya all the time. Who you rep with? The corner bodega. Who kid freestyle? Who's better? Stretch Armstrong with the doo-wop freestyle. You already knowing how I'm double timing it right now with the Toshiba 1 gigabyte. Everybody want to freestyle, then they fight. Or do you write or excite? I play Excite Bite on the NES every night, like 6 p.m. to like 2 a.m. until first see, yo, he rapping again. I could slow it down. Like DJ Screw and pop a tape in and be like, who was you? On the cruise, bruise when the avenue. They be like, who that is? It's the kid with the brew, with the low hat, with the low five, but below back in the backtrack, in the back, smoking fat sats. It's like that. And he never stopped that. But who the fuck is that? It's that kid who rap and then we speed it up, get another cut. What's up? Headed to the block where motherfuckers get shot up with the shotgun in the back and the machete in the front. Dudes like, what's up? They smoking the blunt, sipping on the machete flow. Ready though, you already know. If you didn't know, now you motherfucking know. With the shit in the flow in the background, always doing the shit. Yo, who that is now? Freestyle. No, motherfucker pay style, getting a publishing and a copyright right now. Jumping in the building, catching feelings. I got tissues for all y'all. Fuck them. And every time they hear me, they saying, buck them. When hip hop come through the room, it's like MF Doom when we come through. Boom. That's how it is when we're doing the sound. You hear the Wu-Tang in the background with the Method Man, kicking that with the cream, cash rules, everything around me. I don't know. I can keep going.
That
I
was
was trying to
Fresh
use the
T and
track list.
REZ.
I was trying to rap off that.
Yeah, I see it.
I was like, I need words. I need something. I need words. No, I'm a word nerd,
Excite
man.
Bike on the NES. You ever make your own board up on Excite Bike?
No, not yet. Not yet.
That's dope.
Man, one more, man, before we get out of here. Fresh, man.
Yeah.
What's the message you got for the world, man, to in your legacy to know about you when you're dead and gone? What you want them to know about you?
The underdog gets his day. Underdog gets his day. That's kind of like one just. So underdog gets his day, man. Like
That's a hard question. I know it's a tough one. We kind of live like doing hip hop. We want to leave a legacy. You want your family to respect your catalog. A lot of my family don't really know my catalog. So, for the world to what you want the world to know about you, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, and I was cut myself short. Let me just keep it real. Somebody who never fucking gave up and stood somebody never gave up and stood 10 toes no matter what. Because at the end of the day, the best comparison I could say, like, that inspired me. God, I don't know why I didn't say that. Rocky movies. I'm a huge fan of Sylvester Stallone. That is my life. To me, in a nutshell, so, like, as a person, you know what I'm saying? Because that's his story, you know what I mean? Like 1976, like cold, super before my time, but you know what I mean? Like all them quotes, all that, like that's the best way I could put it. It's kind of hard to be like that, but it's just like, to just be able to keep going like a renegade, know that you're gonna have to get knocked down to get back up, but that's the beauty of it. Because if you didn't get knocked down, you know what I'm saying? How would you appreciate getting up? You know what I mean? So for the first time ever, I really got a hot quote for that. I don't really got a hot line for that, unfortunately. It's just, I just hope, people could look back at anything I've done and take something positive from it to motivate themselves. That would be, that would be pretty powerful. You know what I mean? Like all the MCs and people that like inspired me. Like, look at all the names I listed. You know what I mean? I was that they probably didn't even know I was a kid in California chilling. You know what I mean? Like they probably didn't even know they was reaching West Coast. It's different. And I was that kid. You know what I mean? I was that kid. So I'm sorry, Butter. I know I don't really got the answer for that one, my guy. You got me.
Man, we
You have to
talk,
edit
you
that
know.
one.
Hey, hey, Fresh C, when you if you motivated by Rocky, you'll be if you haven't heard the story on how he created the movie and what he had to do to get the movie made. If you haven't heard that story, that's gonna motivate you even more.
I just watched
Right.
it again.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Can I ask you just a question about that
Yep.
really quick, or both you guys? How do you guys feel about Erwin owning Rocky? Like that, like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, because Rocky doesn't own the joint he wrote, you know what I mean? And to the story, I still think it's kind of crazy how like his line where he says keep talking because you never know,
Mhm.
sometimes you could just talk your way into a situation because when he came and wrote with the script joint and went in there, they originally had another individual, like they wanted to buy the script from him, right? But they didn't want him as the star. And so he's like, nah,
Exactly.
he's like, I want to be the star, because he knew back that he would regret it if he didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so yeah, nah, it's a powerful story, but it's all because you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like he made it that way. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
especially when he had like what $100 and Butt Kiss his real dog, like
Yeah.
he really
He
sold his real
sold his
dog
dog. Yeah.
and
You
had
know,
to buy it back for like 250 grand or something,
Yeah.
250K.
they counted those guys out like they played him like a mutt, and he reversed it. Even just as in the '80s doing those movies, like coming out, they everybody just thought Sylvester Stallone was just a tough guy, and he's seen it through for those guys for him to pass down Creed and all that those franchises, man.
Hmm.
Just like hip hop, bro. You got to keep it going and keep reinventing yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan is the executive producer on the new one. For him to be, in power like that overnight, really almost with that type of franchise, you know what I'm saying? That thing is like 30 years strong, man. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
Yeah.
what art is such a is such a judgment call you have to make. You have to believe in it, but you also have to be comfortable with the outcome of your decisions. So for example, you can make a movie or something, you could sell the rights and get paid up front, and that upfront money could change your life, right? And
Yeah.
set you up for something bigger later on. That movie or that album could flop. You see what I'm saying? But on the flip side, that thing can blow up 20 years later. You got some guy saying, "Hey, I just not started listening to De La Soul," right? Now
Yep.
they go buy your whole catalog, and you like, "Dang, I sold everything," right? So it's one of the things you have to be comfortable with your decision either way. If you getting some money up front, make sure it's life changing. I tell dudes just chasing a record deal. I said, if you're gonna get some money up front, make sure it's life changing, not $100,000, nothing like that. But it has
Yeah.
to change the direction of your life because you'll regret it if that stuff blow up. But on the flip side, it could be a flop and never go anywhere. And you got your million and you good,
Yeah.
A,
And then
a lot of people played movies. I think Pac got what, like 15, 20,000 to playing Juice or something like that.
not a
That
lot.
changed his career.
Yeah.
Um, they were saying how Pops and Friday only got paid like $5,000 to do the first movie, but he said when they came back, he was like, "I got their ass." So
Yep.
as an artist, that's what you got to deal with:
Up out there.
the
Yeah.
upfront or the back end.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so I had a randomly before we get out of here, I actually had a couple questions for
Yep.
y'all. Like if I could ask that maybe y'all would know.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm a nerd for the interviews and stuff. So like just the other day, there was a old school Jay Dilla interview that I'd never seen before. I don't even know who or where it came from, some whatever. But he was interviewing and he said that he had a Dilla laid. He said he says the only one. Is that true, or was he just playing? Was that what did he really like have a custom Escalade? Because he was talking about it in the interview. and he was laughing at the guy. They're in a trailer, like a movie trailer or a scene trailer or something. And he was looking at somebody, and he kept saying, "He said it's one of a kind. There's only one." So I was like, I just want to ask, like, is there really just one? Is there only one?
No, he had that Escalade though, right, Butter? But I don't think it was nothing too
Yeah,
custom.
he had a dealer made. He had it customized. He had
Okay,
it customized. They changed the logos on
That's
the
tight.
truck, made the Escalade to Delalade. He wasn't around in Detroit riding around too much, and
right.
Dilla was he had a way of making an impact when he come out. You know what I'm saying? That was his thing, bro. It's just like hearing how clean his refrigerator was. Just how things were neatly stacked up in his refrigerator, and the orange juices and the cranberry juices all had their own section and stuff. But he was one of one. You know what I'm saying?
Y-
That's the main thing, just being a one of one in the
Yeah.
world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So okay, and then I got another one. So like when people used to steal beats back then. So I've
Hmm.
watched different interviews from different artists from Detroit,
Mhm.
a whole bunch of them, from
Oh
the
yeah.
underground Detroit hip hop one to Death of an Indie Label to anything Detroit that can be found on the internet. I watched it. And so
Right.
I've seen a lot of people say funny shit. I just want to know how true this is. So like I guess so, I don't know who, but somebody somewhere used to put like stupid shit in the beats like these nuts or like fuck you or like little things, so when if people stole their beats and they dubbed over them that they'd have these funny tags and shit on them like where
Yeah.
you knew you stole it, you know what I mean? Is that true or is that just
So
someone
we
playing?
we some of the producers I worked with, or like that new up and coming producers, that was always they fear that somebody would steal their beat. Because before we used to shop demos, right? You
Yeah.
keep sending your demos out, and somebody might not like the artist, but they'll be like, "Who made that beat?" Right? And dudes were seeing like beat tapes and all of that. One of the things some dudes used to do is they'll make the quality of the beat tape so that it was so rugged and kind of ragged, but you can hear the potential in it, or they'll just keep tagging it. They'll be like every so many measures, they'll keep tagging it with something. But people had all type of tricks, but a lot of times people can recreate most of them beats, but some producers you couldn't recreate that sound. Period. I don't care how hard you tried. But yeah, it was people still beats like they still raps.
I just like I didn't know it was a thing that far back because it just kind of blew my mind because I know people talk about it now, tags and things like that.
Yep.
But I never thought about it like that. And when I was just going through archives, I started seeing a pattern, and like people would say, "Yeah, we'd put stupid little sound effects," or like somebody else said they did ribbits on it, like a frog. Like I don't know if it was I don't know, somebody's studio session and shit like that. I
Listen,
don't know who it
I'm
was, but
I'm gonna tell you a story. I ain't gonna name the artist involved, but I know a producer, and this was
uh,
recent, like within the past like 2 to 3 years. He gave an artist a track, and it was no money exchange, but they had an agreement that they would, he would get paid, all the back end stuff, right?
yeah.
So he gave it to one artist. The artist put another person on the song with him, right? And while they were sitting on this song, the artist never hadn't finished his project. The other artist went and put it on his album,
Oh
right?
shit.
And dropped it. You know what I'm saying? And this song gets out, and my man's like, "Where's my money?" But he ended up getting paid, and the artist he gave it to was like, "I'm gonna make sure you get paid." I didn't expect him to do that to me, right? But it was a song they end up both putting on both of their albums. But it was just crazy, and the producer didn't have no, he didn't have no clue. So a lot of stuff happens.
Damn.
It's the industry.
Yeah, no, it's just like that's one of those things though too. Um, like I don't know like who all like opens up to like help like how it works out. Like you guys do workshops and stuff like that. But like I know that's one of the things that when we would put on workshops here, like trying to teach these younger artists like to just like we even have like a printout file where it just shows like literally these are the steps of the tree of your music from your publishing, your composition, your mastering, all that, how to break it down. But we also find out too, like a lot of people just don't give a fuck, I guess. Like unfortunately too, you got those artists that are like, I've seen it. Unfortunately, I have some friends that took some deals that they're super regretting now. Like I don't even know how they get out of those things, you know. But
It's
yeah,
it goes to that balance again. When you young and you hungry, you just trying to get a name and a reputation. So sometimes the upfront money is not what it's all about. But you have to be careful with that, and that's where knowing your worth plays a big part in that too, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's just the balance in that, man, of being an artist.
No, and like, and then the other question I have for the both of y'all, if y'all don't mind me asking, is like, y'all like, obviously you guys are both from Detroit, right? Like born and raised from Detroit. Okay. So like coming up to y'all with hip hop, like at that time, like, you know, in its infancy, I guess it would say, like you guys got to see at least a piece of that. Like what was it like that made y'all, like if I ask you just both of y'all, just, you know, what made y'all fall in love with hip hop? Like when it made it real for y'all? If I could ask that.
Yeah, so with me, so when I first heard hip hop, like when I first heard like Rapper's Delight, we
Yeah.
were already listening to like Parliament Funkadelic, Rick James, and all of that in the disco era. So I was like 6 when that came out. So Rapper's Delight was just another song, like a funky R&B song that came out, considering the song they sampled, right? So it just was
Yeah.
like I couldn't distinguish the difference between that and what else I was hearing. It was just a funk record to me or a disco record. But around when Run DMC first came out, that's when I was like, oh, these dudes young, they hip, they represented the teenagers I looked up to.
Yeah.
And around when I was like 9, that's when I wrote my first rap. And it was like, first I was breakdancing because that's what I seen. Everybody wanted to be Lee from Beat Street or Shabba-Doo and all of that. But when I started rhyming, it was just I could identify with these guys, right? And
Yeah.
this is what was cool, but it was also how I was living. And all the music represented my lifestyle and what I was growing up seeing and everything. And that was just it for me. I could relate to that. It was a point of time where we all wanted to be Michael Jackson and moonwalk and all of that, but wearing the fancy clothes and all of that, we couldn't afford that. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
nobody mama was making them all these costumes to go out and be fly at school. But you could wear your Adidas and your Levi's and be fly, and you can participate in this thing called hip hop. And that's what got me into it and every aspect of it. If I wasn't doing it, somebody else I know was um, doing graffiti, DJing, dancing, or rapping, and that was it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, with me is that Curtis Blow Christmas rapping
Oh
when
shit.
that came out. When I heard that record, I said I gotta get some hip hop for Christmas. Just a microphone, you know, a Jerry curl or something. You know what I'm saying? You know, just and then you know at the time coming up on North Lawn and Puritan, my grandma was there. You know, she had turned the channel. She played baseball all day and gospel stuff all day, but when I walk in the room, she'd turn the channel to hip hop. You
Oh,
know, and
that's tight.
let me find it. You know, she got to a point, you know, to let because I was sneaking there a couple of times and like, let me turn it off this Sparky Anderson stuff and you know the gospel channel. But she looked at me like one day like, don't fuck with my radio, but you know, but she eventually let me mess with it. You know what I'm saying? So when she let me mess with it, I started. When she leave, I try to cut on her turntable. You know, a lot of little stuff. So when Jam Master Jay came up, got into play, and I said, damn, and Grandmaster Flash, all that stuff. It was like, damn, this is hip hop. You know, but definitely that Curtis Blow, that Christmas rapping, because I could listen to that with my grandma. You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't no sucker MCs, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was straight up.
It was family friendly,
Yeah,
you know?
it was Earl Flynn music they called it.
You could grill and cook food to it for sure.
Yeah,
You know what else made hip hop? I think at least for our generation, it was like you didn't have to, like you said earlier, you couldn't afford certain things. You if you played basketball, eventually you had to buy the gym shoes, the outfit, pay for practice, whatever you had to do. There was a cost. Any sports, it was a cost. Any boys club or Boy Scouts, anything else where you wanted to compete or be part of an organization, you had to pay for it. With hip hop, you can just go out on the street, practice your skills, and come back the next day and be accepted if you were good, right? If you
Yeah.
wasn't good at rapping, you had to go break dance, one or the other, until you needed some equipment. But most of our grandmothers, they turntables took a beating for people that wanted to be DJs. And that
Yo.
was it. And later on, around like 80, 88, 89, when we started hearing a little bit more samples, we would listen to songs and we'd be like, damn, that's what my grandma was just playing, when I was younger. But we ain't like them records then. But when they started getting sampled, we had a new appreciation for the
Freak
older
out,
music.
sick and all that.
Yeah. Then we
Mhm.
would just grab our parents' records or our grandparents' records and go listen to them and find a break and write rhymes to them. And that was
Damn.
it.
Mhm.
That's so dope. Like how like musicians or creatives like find their process, like
Mhm.
find their their why in a sense. And that's interesting because even though I had those, like my great grandmother, she had that big old giant like fake wood or faux wood thing with like it had the lift up and it had the 8 track and it had the turntable and it had TV and like all that shit.
Yeah.
And basically it was all there. And
Right.
and I saw people scratching and all that, but my grandma was like, "No, you need different needles for things like that. You'll scratch up my record." So of course I wasn't trying to do all that. But my grandma's that little church joint, the little church recorder with the mic thing that grandmas had, like every grandma had one. It's like silver, it was made by General Electric. It's like one little tape and you could record. And like that's where everything changed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what about rapping and this stuff? Did y'all like did you guys have like a task cam or something
Yeah.
like
So starting out, always just recorded. Like you used to have like a tape player and you can plug a mic in and record to it and play music somewhere else and record, or somebody would just beatbox and you would just rap and record it. But then, like the first person I went to was P Groove, that actually recorded. His father had brought him the 4 track and the
damn.
studio equipment and all that. He was making beats when we was in high
Yeah.
school, and
We
it
was
was
going through puberty. He was making beats.
That's
yeah,
tight.
yeah,
He was like our Marley Marl, and, for real.
yeah,
Damn.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy because like the reason why I asked just for perspective is like because like I want to learn too. You know what I mean? Like I always try to learn things, and I'm so like I've always been infatuated with Detroit hip hop because I just always felt like it kept the essence of what is alive. Like,
mhm,
you know what I mean? Like, and any Michigan individual I've ever came across, I got to perform there one time on one tour, in Grand Rapids.
yeah,
So it was the first time I ever heard a tornado alarm. That was crazy. You know what I mean? I didn't know what the fuck think about
Mm.
that, but whatever. But not like just the stories and stuff like that. Like y'all really like it's so inspiring. Like to artists like myself. Like I said, going back to the whole thing we talked about today, like from the Underground King mixtapes to like even me just breaking down, talking some real shit about life. You know what I mean? Like if hip hop hadn't have been a part of that, you know what I mean? If y'all stories hadn't have been somehow infused in part of that with, the contributions to hip hop and stuff like that, like fuck, man, people like me wouldn't even be here. Like real shit. Cause like,
That's why I
you know,
asked what you want the people to know about you when you're gone. To me,
yeah,
I care. I give a fuck when a lot of people really don't give a fuck. We this is hip hop brought us to this moment. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And we had those talks. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing to see you. In the
yeah.
video games, you like a one man. You like an octopus over Octopus Records over there.
Hey,
There's
no,
everything.
I'm gonna keep it real though. Like I'm gonna keep it 100. Like this is probably like when it comes to doing the music and stuff this year. Like honestly, I have to find help. It's getting to the point where it's like I feel I've done personally as a person of my stature where I've gotten myself to. I feel like okay, you know what I mean? Like you said, exactly how you said. Like I'm doing a lot of stuff, but in order for me to expand, like I know these other stuffs, the other things, they've also got to be mastered. I've mastered certain elements because of the time invested, but certain ones not so much. And I'm putting a lot more on the plate with the opportunities, trying to continuously grow. So I'm always open to networking and
Word.
working with other folks and stuff like that. Like I'm still hungry like it was day one. Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like I'm also resourceful. I also have, you know what I mean, like people that could maybe help y'all out, like connect some dots and shake some hands, you know what I mean? Like get involved with different things, like, So I'm
Yeah,
always
y'all
a
get on with Fresh
you
C
know,
with the administrator side. He's a b-boy. He's a MC. He's a producer. He's a video gamer. He gonna make his own Frogger one day. You know,
Hey, there we go. Shoot, except you could fly over
hip
the
hop
street though.
Frogger.
Right.
Just
Word.
love just loving hip hop, yo. And one last thing I do want to say is big shout out to you, Butter. Thank you, man. Like I know we didn't get to say I didn't get to pay homage to you, but if it's cool, like I would like to, you know what I mean? Um, when dug through all my mixtapes and stuff like that, because I'm a huge Royce fan. You know what I mean? Like I love the lyrics. So I mean anybody from Detroit I listen to. So but I'm also a huge Royce fan, just like linguistics and I just study cadences and things, always trying to learn. And there's a song on the mixtape. I don't remember what volume it is. It's The Crown,
Defending the crown.
Defending the Crown. I don't remember what volume it is though, off top. But that's when I found your stuff. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like that's one of the times where I found your stuff. And then I want to say one of the records is Eat Shit. Is that or a mixtape? Or is it what the fuck is it called?
Shit,
It's like
Shit can happen.
shit can happen. Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, I thought at first when we came across that, I thought I got a bootleg. I'm like, you know what I mean? Because it was funny, like the
Yeah.
cover, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like you make covers where it like was, how Master P did the and No Limit, right? Orange, green, blue. You knew
yeah.
what when you found it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes when you get bootleggers, you find, you know what I mean? It might not be the right cover and shit. And so at first I was like, is this written? And then you pop in the tape, it's like DJ Buddy, y'all. You know what I mean? And it's like all the cuts and stuff like that. And I still got the
Yeah.
vinyl right here that
Right.
you and
Yeah.
DJ Dez signed for me. And
Yeah.
the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The art too, the Dilla art, right
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Donuts. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
got all,
dope.
you know what I mean? So no, like and it just came from me asking about some records. Like literally, I was just asking about some records and just chopping up, and I was asking questions about Detroit, and like Butter was cool enough to just chop it up with me, and that was like 2015. Almost, that was a long time ago, and then we kept that relationship going until we met at the Arizona Dilla Day. We never even crossed paths. It was just all like on some Nicolay shit. You know what I mean? How they made their stuff back in the day. So, with and so that was kind of like our relationship. Like me and Butter, we were just through the net, through the waves and stuff. And the one thing that I definitely want to say, just from my portion of appreciation, is like since the very first conversation when I reached out to you, Butter, you always showed me love, like, and I appreciated that. You know what I mean? Like you made me feel welcome. A lot of times when this thing we call hip hop, like it's not always welcoming to sometimes. You know what I mean? It's part of the kick. You know what I mean? It's part of getting in your licks sometimes, but sometimes when it's that like when you need it, like it's kind of weird. It's like when you need that energy or whatever that is, like for whatever reason, you were just there for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you just real shit, like off record, like Butters came through in some moments and he didn't even really know. So like that's how funky like I keep it, like the respect is real. So I super appreciate. And then you playing my records and like, you know what I mean? And then when I was doing radio on the reservation, on the Indian reservation, I would ask for records from Butter so I could break Detroit records in Arizona. You know what I mean? This was what 2016 when I was doing radio. I still got all your all the joints. Because when you guys dropped a piece of the pie, because I got them records and we were spinning them over here in Arizona on the res, on the res. You know what I'm saying? Like, because my native fan base, man, they love y'all just like they love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my people. So it's like when I bring music out there, they with it. You know what I mean? Like Fresh bringing some shit, we gotta be seeing what's up. So hopefully down the road we can bring some Detroit players down here and do some shit. Because I would love to take y'all to the res. I would love to even bring y'all here to do something. You know what I mean? Like expand, like shake some hands. Because I don't think y'all know, but y'all got a lot of fans, like out here. Like a lot of fans out here that love Detroit music. There are diehard fans of every eclectic circle that I even named. Black Milk, Esham, Eminem, D12, Obi Chais, all that shit. ICP. There's crazy fanatics of all that here. It's just we don't get that. So again, you know what I mean? If the opportunity does arise, now that I'm in a better position than I was, of course, with a little bit of help, I'm sure we can make that happen again. It would just take more hands than just my own. Other than that, it's definitely possible. I just need some more hands to help put some structure up. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna get out of here in the house.
Man, y'all hit a Fresh
in the
C.
flesh.
Yeah, with Fresh C, y'all see his Instagram page right there. We was
Appreciate y'all.
put our shit right there. But Fresh C did.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, Fresh, man. Yes, for real. We funky fresh in the flesh with Fresh C.
And we
Thank
out.
both of y'all.
All right.
West Coast.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.